two founding member states of the League of Nations, only 3 were African: Liberia, the Union of South Africa, and Ethiopia. Egypt was to join later in 1937. Africa's overall participation in the organization's founding was minimal and relatively unimportant. That's because before all the other talks and meetings, representatives from a group of 14 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development, as well as for economic reform and ecological stability. Africa is a catalyst for systemic change. If this reality, which is fact-based and straightforward, seems provocative or unsettling, perhaps it's because you are viewing it through the lens of centuries of filters, colonialism and imperialism, and the resulting implicit bias. Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of African nations or their remarkable ability to make a strong comeback just when you think it's safe to count them out. That is what is happening right now in my own country, Ghana. Our constitution limits leaders to 2 4-year terms. In January, I was sworn in for a second term, which, let me point out, was non-consecutive with my first term. Our currency, the Ghana cedi, was rapidly depreciating, faced with rising inflation, a huge debt burden, and low morale amongst our citizens. My new administration settled down quickly and embarked on an ambitious program of comprehensive transformation designed to restructure Ghana's economic foundation and enhance our competitive standing globally. We refer to this process of recalibration as our reset agenda. In just 8 months, we have achieved significant reduction in inflation from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in August 2025, restoring price stability for our citizens. Additionally, our currency, the Ghana cedi, has appreciated considerably against other currencies, with Bloomberg reporting it as the best performing currency in the world at one point. Our improved sovereign credit rating reflects increasing investor confidence in our economy. And our 24-hour economy initiative promises to transform our economy. And there's a renewed willingness amongst our people to trust that their elected officials have Ghana's interests at heart and that we're progressing together. Madam President, I believe that in honor of this milestone celebration, the United Nations should also embark on a process of serious recalibration and establish its own reset agenda. Since the organization's founding, the number of UN member nations has nearly quadrupled. And quite frankly, it is not the same world that it was back then when the UN was formed. I mentioned earlier that I began my second non-consecutive term as president this past January. My first term ended in January 2017. In that span of time, 8 years, the world has changed with such ferocity. My first days in office after my return felt as though I had just awakened from a Rip Van Winkle-style sleep. Now, no, that was only after 8 years. Imagine then what it will be like after 80 years since the founding of the United Nations. In 1945, the sun had not yet set on the largest empire in history. The most common mode of international travel was by sea. The personal computer had not been invented, let alone made portable. And television, a new convenience, was still in its infancy, albeit in black and white color. Relations between the US and the Soviet Union were turning frosty, with Winston Churchill declaring that an iron curtain has descended across the European continent. Fast track 80 years on, in today's world, hundreds of thousands of commercial flights take off and land every day. Libraries have been digitized so that volumes of literature can exist on a small device, small enough to fit inside your pocket. We live in a world of cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, social media, the internet and its dark hidden dungeon of the dark web, all of which carry a potential threat to global peace and security. Climate change is real, and we're fighting a losing battle against the loss of Maldives and other island nations to the rising sea level, against the loss of Timbuktu to desertification and the Amazon forest to global warming and deforestation. Madam President, the UN Founding Charter is outdated when it comes to representation in this August Assembly. The most powerful post-World War II nations are still being rewarded with an almost totalitarian guardianship over the rest of the world. And yet, the first sentence in Chapter 2, Article 1 of the UN Charter declares that the organization is based on the principle of sovereign equality of all its members. If this were true, and was the case, a continent as large as Africa, with its numerous UN member states, would have at least one permanent seat on the Security Council. Furthermore, we believe that veto power should not be restricted to only 5 nations, nor should it be absolute. There must be a mechanism in this House for the General Assembly to challenge a veto. No single nation should be able to exercise an absolute veto to serve its own interests in a dispute. In 1995, during the 50th anniversary of the United Nations, Nelson Mandela stood in this very spot, and he said, the United Nations has to reassess its role, redefine its profile, and reshape its structures. It should truly reflect the diversity of our universe and ensure equity among the nations in the exercise of power within the system of international relations in general, and the Security Council in particular. I close quotations. 30 years later, we African leaders are still making the same simple request for a permanent seat on the Security Council with the power of a veto. So today, Madam President, I stand here in this exact spot and ask the world, if not now, then when? We demand not only a reform of the Security Council, but also a reset of the global financial architecture, which is currently rigged against Africa. Africa must have a greater say in the world's multilateral financial institutions. And while I'm making requests, I'd like to call for the removal of the blockade on Cuba. As Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, our nation's founder, famously said, we seek to be friends with all and enemies to none. The Cuban people shed their blood on African soil in the fight against apartheid. And indeed, Cuba has been and continues to be a faithful friend of Africa. You see, the very fact that I can stand here and ask these things and say these things, and the fact that all nations can ostensibly gather here to address critical global issues, air our grievances, and express our concerns, that is what makes the survival of this organization so important. In every old city or village, you will find a town square, or a courtyard, or a plaza that once served as a gathering space for the citizens of the community and their leaders. Meetings and celebrations were held there, as were trials and elections, And these were spaces that brought people together and held them together as a community. Sadly, time and technology have eroded these spaces. Madam President, in many ways, the United Nations is the proverbial town square of our modern global village. And it has never been more critical for us to protect this one space that brings and holds the world nations together as a community. The internet, social media platforms, and artificial intelligence offer us the illusion of connectivity, when in fact what they do is reinforce isolation by using algorithms that ensure that we do not receive new ideas and perspectives, but rather more of the same content. We are served alternative facts and manipulated images, making it easy to disseminate disinformation and sow seeds of division amongst communities. Madam President, these are dangerous times. Our world is currently experiencing a rise in nationalism and economic instability. There's a general breakdown of multilateralism. Various acts of aggression have been committed against the sovereignty of others, and nations are attempting to circumvent the very safeguards that were put in place to prevent large-scale global conflict. These conditions are all too similar to the ones that led to the League of Nations' failure in fulfilling its mandate. The denial of visas to President Abbas and the Palestinian delegation sets a bad precedent and should be deeply worrying to all member nations of the United Nations. Ghana recognized the state of Palestine in 1988 and supported a two-state solution to the conflict since then. And I say, contrary to the claims of some, a two-state solution would not be a reward for Hamas. It would rather be a reprieve for the hundreds of thousands of innocent women and children and people who are facing collective punishment and forced starvation for no reason other than the fact that they are Palestinian. For nearly 2 years and for the fear of reprisals, we here in this General Assembly have been playing hide and seek with language to find the right words to help us avoid or excuse what we all know is taking place in Gaza. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter what you call it. If it looks like a duck, it swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, well, then it must be a duck. The crimes in Gaza must stop. The crimes in Gaza must stop. Madam President, I also want to draw particular attention to the conflict in Sudan, which this body has described as the world's largest humanitarian crisis. 12 million people have had to flee their homes. And when we speak of migration, we refer to the 12 million new Sudanese refugees, whom we as a global community should be willing to assist in much the same way that many member nations readily assisted new refugees coming out of Ukraine. Let's dispense with the euphemisms and dog whistles and speak frankly. It is not a mystery that when leaders of Western nations complain of their migration problems, they are often referring to immigrants from the global south. But many of those immigrants are climate refugees. And interestingly, the global north emits 75% more greenhouse gases than the global south. However, the effects of climate change are more severe in the global south because we lack the resources to address them effectively. And so when the desert encroaches on our villages and towns and they become unlivable, we are forced to flee. Wassan Shire, a Somali-born prophet, a Somali-British poet born in Kenya to Somalian refugee parents, was London's first youth poet laureate. She writes in her poem titled Home. And it says, you have to understand that no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. No one bends their palms under trains beneath carriages. No one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck feeding on newspaper unless the miles traveled mean something more than just a journey. Madam President, we cannot normalize cruelty. We cannot normalize hatred. We cannot normalize xenophobia and racism. If we're going to tell a story, let's not tell its slant. Let's tell all the truth. When we speak of migrants, we speak of Mami Ewusi Mensah Frimpong, a judge on the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. She's the first black female judge on any of California's 4 federal district courts. She was born here in America to immigrant parents from Ghana. We speak of Peter Bosman, a medical doctor in Ghana who moved to the town of Piran in Slovenia in the 1980s and later became the first black mayor of Piran, the first black mayor in Slovenia and in the whole of Eastern Europe. We speak of T. Michael, the iconic Ghanaian Norwegian artist and designer. And of course, we speak of the late Kofi Annan, former United Nations Secretary General. Former United Nations Secretary General and Nobel Peace Prize recipient, who was born in Ghana but spent his adulthood in various places in America and Europe. These are people who have brought great distinction to the countries that they decided to call home. Just as the migrants and the children of migrants before them did, I dare say these are not invaders. These are not criminals. Madam President, the slave trade must be recognized as the greatest crime against humanity. As the African champion on reparations, Ghana intends to introduce a motion in this August body to that effect. More than 12.5 million Africans were forcibly taken against their will and transported to create wealth for the powerful Western nations. We must demand reparations for the enslavement of our people and the colonization of our land that resulted in the theft of our natural resources, as well as the looting of artifacts and other items of cultural heritage that have yet to be returned in total. We recognize the value of our land and the value of our lives, as did our colonizers, as well as the governments that happily paid reparations to former slave owners as compensation for the loss of their property in quotes. And that property for which they received compensation was paid referred to enslaved people who had been freed. Madam President, an increasingly insecure world is witnessing upward spending on defense budgets of bilateral partners and steep cuts in official development assistance. Since July 2024, it is estimated that there's been a 40% drop in humanitarian aid globally. In this era of global uncertainty, Africa must exercise sovereignty over its natural resources to raise the necessary funds to ensure the well-being of its citizens. The days of parceling out vast concession areas to foreign interests for exploitation must come to an end. We'll continue to welcome foreign investment, but we must negotiate better for a bigger share of the natural resources that belong to us. And we must insist on value addition to these resources. We're tired of the continued image of poverty-stricken, disease-ridden rural communities living at the periphery of huge foreign-controlled natural resource concession areas. We're tired of having people extract the most they can from us and in return offer us the very least by way of respect, consideration, and dignity. We're tired of not being represented in ways that reveal the richness and complexity of our history or acknowledge all that we have overcome to arrive here in this liminal space of untold possibilities. Allow me to echo the Indian-American writer Arundhati Roy, who wrote, "Another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her briefing." I want to add that for the sake of Africa, and quite selfishly for the sake of my 18-year-old daughter, I hope that this new world that is arriving is a place of safety and equality for women and girls. To succeed, we must empower everyone, including women and girls, to reach their full potential. In closing, Madam President, I'd like to congratulate you on your election to preside over this historic 80th General Assembly and on being the 5th woman to hold this distinction. I'd also like to congratulate Her Excellency Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman on being the first woman Vice President of Ghana. Now every Ghanaian girl knows the heights to which she can ascend. Words matter, but issues of representation matter even more, which is why Ghana looks forward to the appointment of a woman as Secretary General of this organization in the near future. Madam President, Your Excellencies, I thank you for your kind attention.
YZ baby awa wo hwe me bia also awutie power 97.9 FM Mwakwaba and the bedroomedi ayato no day inside politics Friday's edition na me pacho bebre ya de brewi idi am this year Nicholas ya Owusu Olsen wo betumi Afra McKin Nicholas me pacho we have time now about 3:27 pepepe and that's why Friday 26th of September 2025 year of our Lord Free Sambri Akwasi 5:55 there. I am a chefa so semedi inside politics you made Edinburgh. And to baby I will be on my casa stick and stay glued to your TV set. And as I catch you near on the sun country near be Namon fan to TVXYZ. And as a Muntie Power 97.9 FM. Fi say aha na Ghana kasa aha na Ghana tie aha na nsɛm na ayɛ de ma wo efidi kɛse so nti baby a wo bia no memfa wo nsa enka fidie no ma enkɔ so nda ha ya fi say nsɛm na aha na ye bebiebie mu de ama wo na we hu sɛ no kre aha na Ghana etie ampa na me pa cho bebre memfa se da PSA mo twedi ampon yankopon sɛ enne wabɔ ye ho ban fi ana pɛ ya ba wie kwa ni bebre na waya ma yen bebre na ene omo da sore ndey ye hwe omo an nowhere to be found but na domara kwa na impotatra mada bodwe mo jedi emu afuru sane anti ye da na se a no se no fata ibi o memfa se da PSA aseda modu emfema eye production team omo time echi bom echi mam echi do mam di dwumadi bro Mr. Kelvin Asante is the executive producer and sana me ba technical team na me ko MCR ye be hu eye ye ko MCR ye be hu eye Mr. Peter Cranton Mr. Peter Cranton wo MCR me ko ho me pacho bebre obo ye chidom kama paba technically o ye adwuma sa so na abas so ho a no so ebo adwuma wo kwa sound wo be hu eye Mr. Emmanuel Kisi sa so na Mr. Emmanuel Nete omo na sound so omo bo echidom ma ye di dwumadie ye de bro papa me ba studios ha cameras me hu eye menua Francis wa ha sa so na me hu edi man friend edi ono so wa habi ene so me hu se menua ba Mabel so eno so ani omo eboa momu twa cameras ne kama pa ye call eye makeups department ne so a ya ye nua ba ye friend no eye Elizabeth Tego lazy o se ken de bia wo kan de dre kire to me and then me kire me to me ama me nua ba me ana me se intelligence we ni problem what me kire to me ama me won say no kire to me ye adwuma intelligence so ha ono so na we siesie me kama ma me di dwumadie ho chiame a me di dwumadie no e de bro so nkoso pa enti tibi na na ebo me chi do me de Friday's edition boja every ye de bro me ka wo say wo call free to air free to air between ahwe dwumadie bi digital satellite no on your multi TV between ahwe bi also free to air no so digital no so between ahwe dwumadie bi na bibia etumi akonkan so wo feel wo edwuma mo wo tike mo baby awa wo hweyen etie bia no nchia kese enkoma mo titi oboso amutie power 97.9 FM with the nation's capital Accra yakwa Central Ashanti ene eye Eastern regions a omuina su tie 97.9 eye megahertz nti mamemfa seda so mfema mo amutie enyina wo ko eye social media platforms in Aswa Facebook Power 979 FM Facebook Power 979 FM Saso na me pacho TikTok so ye demo hosa ye call YouTuber no so ye dem TV and as XYZ broadcasting YouTube ye XYZ broadcasting by Facebook no ye call Power 979 FM na sanso TV XYZ Ghana ni na no koso a obetumi ahwedwumadie bi na wetie bi kama ma bibia etumi akọ enkan idi a me so na obia frame a na eche se emani age Ken Nicholas wo the chief driver na ka ho a ne bebia ewu e de amame nti Ken Nicholas ne medin chief driver e me cha fa se me besomo na me the biggest social political platform jumedi e de bro and bebia wo bia no nyabotre kai say education information a wo hia bia no ye de bro wo inside politics jumedi so ene mentena na bibia entumi enkonkan na meje nkonya tena so say ya na me chia my chairman Sofo Osman Dawood me cheche opapa responsible mining na ye kanu cooperative mining mo ye wo aboso na mo de ne responsible mining na mo ye ni ye a mo mfa bibibia mfrefrem enti oye ward chairman wa aboso Sofo Osman Dawood me cheche opapa ewie me didi say wo ho bokode when your mom ye cooperative mining wa bosso and importem rock mining amoye so ani amoye na bra dwen nti ase so nyame nhira mo papa se mo bossa adwuma no na mo ma mrantie ne mmaba wa omowo abosso ne importem Prisia Uni Valley constituency musumu nyina no nya fasode anyame de nhira mo ewo masasem mo ye ne friend responsible mining no na ye kanu cooperative mining and community mining be a buyer no me ne basa no what do any chemo a boss and importema na wokoto chairman Sofo Osman Dawood on any doma ejuma mo ye ne brad nti ase so di omanim Ken Nicholas cooperative mining ye con responsible mining and mining na ye ne basa ye the measure sa omudi egu o se ye ndi sunya ne pepepe no sa na ye di ye ejuma nti edieteno no nti michia chairman Sofo Osman Dawood baby a wo bia nchia kese nkomo woni adwumayfo amoye cooperative mining na michia mo pa michia so ana ma minchia Delaguda waso michia wo so okwa boss wa wo chairman wo so michia papa bijiri se muina mo ho ye na mumba adwuma mfanso mo man Ghana na de bia so kasa boss grass factory no mo be bom ho mbodin na motu anamon bi o se mutu na mpanifo ahwe ma bosso grass factory asaba because osaje for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah o your bosso grass factory di si ho e de man dwuma na omu hia glass ahro bottles ahro na say yi wo enso MPP aban ba ye wo betwa di na nado danko akufu adone na Dr. Mahmoud Baumia momo be betwa di asisi awokọ na wokasa wo hwehwe abosso grass factory nowhere to be found enyade a wo behu wo bebia eyade ha adwene yi pa na eyade ya tetesem na ye nhwe ma ne nsei says ya osaje for the second His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Dr. Kwame Nkrumah ni ho no wo ho nti ono abei ye be san revampo abosso grass factory na etumi aba bonsa ties mu na no ye mbom pae na yemfa empaibo ntai His Excellency John Dramani Mahama chi yen san kwane ahoden emfema no no ne na bai ne betumi a revive ndwuma ahoro a revamp ne kama na ni na etumi aba na bibie etumi akonkan ntimi nuanom amo abosso ehɔ na mefi anti abosso fo grass factory ne beba chairman Guda Delamo woni so ade hunu se mo be fight ma grass factory na aba no Osman mo Dawuda mu na ne beboa na ya hwɛ ma grass factory na aba na bibia etumi akonkan nti mo abosso ne mpotema muntedin na bibia be kama na enije so aba ma bibia etumi akọ enkansa na ye sha sedia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama kopie mu wo bi man so New York the 80th UN General Assembly ono na meyi kasamfoyin enche ma wo hwe bi no kasa wakasa ma Africa world leaders in ebo mu nsema no se no kre Africa is the future we di kan say Africa yen hwe ma racism they be Africa no mutwa ne boni ka fonyi boni for Africa on sa ne mani no say sorry yen tro ma kwesi broni mfini krom emba tena ye konso na ade ye nyame de hia ha gudi ode ama ye ne niema ye wo raw material no wa ha no mbefa majority mfa nkonu krom na ye mbre sign name semi na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama kasafa ho na okasa no chem say na niam ekọ ema Africa yi pa anso eye COVID-19 no so ebe ha ya dwen kakra ebe ma niam eye bisi basa affect economy we na eye Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia mbribi omo so economic wizard edu baby who bisa Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia economy ho nsema ontumi nka hwe city depreciation e depreciate ontumi nka ho hwe says ya dear His Excellency John Dramani Mahama kasa ye no Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia nya baby agama ono so kasa bi say hi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama MPP time omo time no omo kasa COVID-19 ka ho bi na economy no ma ye basa wo ka no obi say enya sa neti and so His Excellency John Dramani Mahama kwa outside Ghana no kasa COVID-19 na abeha man Ghana no na se mo person che no ye nim so person che say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama onye no kofu ha na ka kire ye enkotie na ye nim say ye kan obi o kohwini a obi ase bi odi tra why wo Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ye enkotie ne nsem bi o kan embra
niema bo akosoro pa from 2022 COVID impacts no ebaye no Ukraine war and COVID ema niema bo ekosoro 2024 election mo nyina mo kai say na ye ka say abdia esi ye no na niema bo ekosoro Ghana ha nyina eye COVID na ebaye Emma nipa nema bo ekosoro any Russia Ukraine war ye ka saade no omampanyi Mahama ne NDC omoka say ye twantro omo say COVID insan nimu at all enya sa no omoka ye omo say economic mismanagement enya sa no omoka ye say COVID enye a factor omampanyi echo New York ena omo okoka say Africa nyina niema bo ekosoro because of COVID or say COVID ninti ena niema bo ekosoro or say a lot of your effort ye reduce poverty over 10 years or 20 years COVID no edi sa effort ni nyina abaform in just 2 years sa no kind enti asa unim sa but wanka election no enye sa onim ni kreno ba wanka yen yehu problem no omo ehu problem no enti nyame adom obi abehu bibia ne kreno da enti 2028 yen sesan ya adwen yenfa emma Dr. Bawumia ene MPP na yenfa economic management no enkoso because we got it right.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia Alhaji Kanidin ho wa mama sere ai economic management team ya esabi na mumbo hui apui yensa amfa ma mo biem 2028 ebe Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia na hu mo ka we economic management team na wo da no mo ntumi enhu so eniama jigu basa CD depreciate echi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia oka bibia akra economy ano de nam digital na yi de bia ye friend saying digital ni data de bia sansem ya no okan and that yen samfa mo na ne economic management team no mu de na kre ebe Ghana ni bia etie mi a Ghana ni bia ehwe mi a mo nyina mu di adanse mo nyina mu ni meko mo nyina mu ni sa asema Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ken na asema oken enya de obi akreti yede aye man share won economy for 8 years wentumi anye hu na officer Ghana for Sebiwa ye nante kwayechi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia say president okojina outsider na COVID no tumi ka ho asem say na say economy nti na omo de ka nokre hwan enim say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia na oditro hwan enim say woni economic management mumbo hu and that yansan yanto wasem na yanto mo 2028 we are Ghana ni na wutie me we are Ghana ni na wo hwe me a o se hu atro Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia atropa tro on kanokre yen san fa mamu biom His Excellency John Dramani Mahama no kre na waka no hwe kasa ndro kan ye wiasa fene no bia ka ho asem se yenya Africa leader bi obetumi aye truthful aka no kre say ya na Africa ye be kroye na ya kambom na ye push ya Africa Union ebetumi akwanenim Africa ebetumi afa yentuma pefra because there na nyame mfe nhira yen nyame hia ye bibia onso yankasa na yaye ye ho enemies moma yen sortwe yen kambom yen baako na ebehu se abrofo no omam behu se ye baako a ye be sorry anya do bia betumi ebu afa ye so obia betumi a stand yen enti Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia nsema okasa omo kan kre na ekonomi en kre bien mon si Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia hu mo kan meseden ne kre bien yense no hu cause on kan kre de eteno no na yepema akoyenima na nationwide assessment by Ghana Medical Trust Fund your friend Mahama Cares Administrator Madam Obobia Dakun Opoku Opay working visit call Konfo Anochi teaching hospital engage leadership on critical gaps in war equipment ICU capacity any our specialize retention and sana omoya reaffirm fans and commitment so betumi abwa na enyema etumi akonkan no mu tulu major teaching hospitals no because major teaching hospitals no mo lack enyema bebre na okoye no mu kodi nkomo ehwe boae na mese Mahama Cares no abaso obesom na obebua Ghana ya pomden ne meka ho enti ehwe abra kwancherefo a oda Ghana Medical Trust Fund ayekan Mahama Cares no otu anomo nkwa asante mantom no ni mpanifo bi kodi nkomo moma yenkohwe na yentie nsama ode tudwa
Ghana Medical Trust Fund stopped in the Ashanti region today. Our first stop was the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. So we went into their facilities, we met the head, the management and everything. It was a sad moment for all of us. And I think that especially for their equipment and looking at the load that they have, people coming from the north, from the west, and all over, all of them come into the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. And for them to have a facility that is virtually running on equipment that are outdated, so many years old, and clearly you look at it and you know that they really need the help. And it's important that corporate Ghana, government, all of us head there to give them the kind of support that they need to do their work. It wasn't just listening to management, but it was also as we took a walk through the facility and looking at some of equipment that was installed 2005, there's some that was installed even in the 90s and all. Clearly, you know that it's about time that we did a retooling of our major teaching hospitals as well as the regional hospitals. We are also ending our tour in the Kumasi South Hospital, and that serves as a regional hospital for the Ashanti region. And I'm sure that you have also seen what's happening here. We are hoping that, as they have said, they are waiting for government to move them out of here so that they go and occupy this area, regional hospitals, so that at least those ones, there are new medical equipment there that will help them to discharge their duties with all the help that they can. So it's important that we take into consideration that the Ghana Medical Trust Fund can simply not start its work without doing a needs assessment. And we are happy we came, we saw, we will go and put our report together, and I'm sure that we will start work immediately.
Enti Madam Obobia Dakun Opoku na yete nka no ɔno na ɔyɛ administrator de ma Ghana Medical Trust Fund your friend Mahama Cares ɔno na yɛte ɛnenka no abro kopie mu Comfort North Teaching Hospital na mboa bia teaching hospital sensesi omu hia no obeboa ma bibia etumi akonkan ne nkomo na yete ye no na the acting managing director de ma Electricity Company of Ghana ono so de atodua aka se containers a yira ye nyina no omatumi atresi thousands containers a yira bebre a ye kan ho asem no omatumi atresi na omo retrieve de ebegu warehouse back asesi ano bibia dedin na Ghana for so kas ECG say si light gina suina omo buka gusi o say enye sa na ti o na mekokọ suina ne se dum so de eni hobium na mo betumi so aka ne se ye o meters bi o ha enam system no mu a emfa omo system no so meter no ntumi ready emfa omo system no so enti yade ani na no omo hwese sa meters ni na omeye fi system no mu na omotumi enya new meters ebetumi aboa na bibia fa system na dwete omu hia no omunyan pepepe na omudie di dwumadi oso omudi nti mefi ECG acting managing director ho abano no yenkonkotie nkomo de boy efa ECG ho.
We have started moving our containers from the port. So far we moved over 1,000 containers. Again, when we met in May, the news was that we couldn't trace a lot of our containers. I'm happy to say that we have traced all our containers and we started moving them on the port. I've already talked about the outages. We have managed to cut outages. We are not saying that we have eliminated outages, but we've worked to cut outages, and we are continuing to put in measures to make sure that we don't go back to what we came to meet. With resolving a lot of these issues. Mr. Chairman, I want to say that since then, with the support of our board, the minister, and His Excellency the President, we made a lot of progress. Now Ghanaians said that the President is hurting their eyes with knives. Because he has managed to keep the lights on and then we slow do so. Mr. Chairman, I want to say that it's not only lights. ECG has asked for a certain percentage increase in the distribution service charge, not in how much customers will pay us. And so ECG is not asking that customers' tariff should be increased by 220%. Absolutely not. And what we are asking for can even be done without any corresponding increase in the end user tariff. We are.
Can you repeat that?
The mic.
Please capture your Can you replace the mic for us?
Okay, so let me repeat that. So the current end user tariff will see a distortion. The distribution service charge, in other words, the component of the tariff that ECG comes to ECG, is only right now 12%. And it should be around 40%. So the tariff is heavily distorted against distribution. And we are appealing to the PURC to correct that distortion. So the distribution service charge can go up without necessarily increasing the end user tariff. Some of the meters we find in our network that have not come to us, they don't measure anything. They are not good meters. So when you put it there, they're there. But ECG cannot read the meters. The meters are not measuring, so we cannot read the consumption, so we cannot pay it. So we have two issues. The first one, we don't have you in our records, so we cannot pay you. The second one is that we cannot even measure the power you are consuming. And unfortunately, most of the facilitators are our friends in Parliament and assemblymen and DCs, and so we are indulging your support so we can curb the issue of illegal meters. A publication that some of my friends in the Ketu South District, Ketu South municipality want to demonstrate against us because we are removing illegal meters. It is important for us to remove those meters and replace them with legal meters issued by ECG. Otherwise, our losses will continue to grow.
Electricity Corporation of Ghana, Penino Dano, Anna Yete, Nanudisem, Efano, AMSN containers, Homo Tracia, or Modini Nekogu warehouse, increase eba tariffs mu or Kanwasem, Bium, or Tremu, meters are roa emphasis system no more, or Moshe Yini Nefim, no see doom so be any ho, and see Muma Yen Shannon so, na Yen Yanisa. Na make us say so. Mr. Sam George, Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations. So Edensem Atuja, Efano, Kwanya, ye media no, Sesiano, Moshe Maye, Juma, Efano, broadcasting ethics and standards, journalism, or say to me guide and Niema etwiko ye, and some brinana waka fa hon say Sesiana government, and yadia Efano Ghana DTT platform niadeno. Ombehe na first no diske bibuani adia mbirunyan free no. Sanya mani na yebe ye fi ho na bibie to me konka. Yankwe na yankotia Mr. Sam George, an honorable Sam George. Nasamodi Tuja.
While the ministry is supportive of the use of new media to augment traditional media in the dissemination of information and the provision of educational and entertainment content, new media must subject itself to the same rigors of conventional media. It is wholly unacceptable and indeed undemocratic for us to have different standards for new media broadcast and traditional media broadcast. Once you broadcast, the ethics and standards of the craft must govern your operations. I'm not here to speak of censorship. I speak of regulation. The media, be it traditional or new, cannot be said to be above regulation. It cannot be the Wild West, where incredulous allegations are made, reputations are damaged, and images are soiled irreparably, simply for clickbait. I cannot and will not, as the Minister for the sector, seek to regulate what media outlets publish. Absolutely not. I'll never do that. That is your democratically protected editorial discretion. However, in the same vein, my democratically elected mandate is to regulate through my regulators how your editorial discretion is broadcast. So what you say is yours, but how you say it is regulated by us. And so we must draw that fine distinction, especially with new media. As the founder of our beloved nation, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah put in his book, Neocolonialism, The Last Stage of Imperialism, I quote, "If by their fruits we shall know them, then they must first grow the fruit." So if you want us to know you as responsible journalists, you must first sow the fruits of responsible journalism in your broadcast. We must work together within the remits of our mandates to ensure the protection and longevity of this democracy that we enjoy. You must be responsible in your broadcast, and I must exercise caution in overseeing my regulatory responsibilities and issuing policy directives. We must all agree. The government of Ghana established the National DTT Transmission Network in 2016 under the leadership of the then minister, my big brother, Honorable Edward Kofi Omani Boama. May his soul rest in peace. The strategy then was for the government to support the industry with the investment in the network and to gradually cover the operational costs through payments by TV stations as follows. It was supposed to be 0 fees in the first year, 50% of the price in the second year, 75% of the cost in the third year, and then full cost recovery thereafter. Following the change of government in 2017, the policy direction was not implemented until much later, when my predecessor, the Honorable Esla Owusu-Ekufo, attempted to introduce fees for DTT operations and maintenance. However, the Industry Association, GIBA, went to court, and there has still not been an implementation of the cost recovery arrangements. The over 45 stations on the platform have not paid any fees for the 10 years the platform has run for the operation and maintenance of the transmission network. The government of Ghana has borne the cost over this period, thereby subsidizing private enterprise. This is not sustainable and must come to an end. I thought you would clap. We have to come to the table as partners to establish a straightforward arrangement for the financial sustainability of our national DTT platform. The government is working to expand the platform due to the high demand for slots. We're working on Max 3. Whilst we do this, we must commence discussions immediately, and I'm grateful to the Africa Media Bureau for this platform, on how the stations using the platform can contribute to the operations and maintenance of convening a meeting of stakeholders on this matter in due course. The free ride, the bus that gives us has run out of gas. We need to find an environmentally friendly and sustainable means of fueling the DTT. NCA is taking steps to ensure compliance with the conditions of broadcasting authorizations that have been issued. Recent audits of FM and TV authorizations, together with spectrum monitoring exercises, are to ensure that only compliant and operational stations remain on air. Quality of broadcast. I urge all broadcasting authorization holders to do what is right. Apply for your renewal on time, which means 90 days before the expiration of your 5-year license. Pay your fees, your yearly fees. Comply with the technical regulations of the NCA. As your presenters on your
Minister in charge of communication, Honorable Sam Jatta George, Onona Yete Eye Ninkano, and Yeso, Yemfa Yehu, Adwene, na Yindisu Yen Pepe, we enkasa aban na minister na, Uma Yindisu kama pa, na bibia ntumi nkonkan. Na maka, na mesanya kabium. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, wutie mi papa, yedawasi. Empenimfo a omoma eye Accra Metro etumi nyos meyo we a mayi na ma eye Accra no mo ye na bra adwene ntiase so ni papo wa badwuma na masesia no asamda epiemu ewo Accra ne se Accra ebesi eye 100-ton plant ebe turn plastic into fuel wumpe we na opedien Accra mayo ne edano ne de sa dwumadie edi be piemu Accra. Enti make say the Accra Metropolitan Assembly in partnership with Television Technologies Limited assigning agreement on be constructing 100-ton plastic into fuel. Nature say yenya ho fasodi bebre de aboa nkrenkrodue. Wumpewe na opedien. Ebro adwene ntiase so. De bia mekase Accra mayo we oya ade a wabesa odwena Accra ho monhwe sesi a wo run krankrodue mu a Central District of Accra hwahawa sesi kwan ni didem eniema konkan wo fa bebi obi as hey mayor way obo adwuma pa na me hunam say mayor edwuma obo bradwe ne ntia so se kin me ye field marshal enya ade a me be ye mayor ametena office de bia no nam circle no nam eye makwala no nam ha Honorable Michael Nikpapo Alote ya yes ye be boa mo wadwuma akoso cause excellency John Dramani Mahama hu bibi wo mu enti no yihu sebra na beso Accra Metro enti mawaye ebradwe ne nti ase so hwe plastic waste aji Accra boso na was sign sa contract your mo beye 100 a year ton plastic waste ebefa na turning into fuel yenye odeni we bue moma enkotie ensema only eye television eye technology sidi nkomo ensema epie mu.
One of our biggest problems we have in Accra is the plastic waste, and for the first time in the issue of the AMA and the issue of Accra, we are going to move the plastics from the streets, from our gutters. So this is a movie we're about to sign with this company. I'm very happy. I pray we'll fast track things for them to, by end of the year, we can set up this machine. So what I'm saying is that we all have to support with our prayer that when this thing happens, it's going to help the whole Accra, not only AMA. It's going to help people from Tema, it's going to help people from Ashaman, it's going to help people from Botiano, all over the city. So it's a good thing that we must support it. So what I'm saying is that we are very happy. We are going to do this together with my brother here, and I know by next year, by this time, Accra will be the cleanest city.
Inti mayor yenye den we bue Honorable Michael Nikpapo Alote Accra mayor no the youngest mayor or boy dwuma de Accra bibi obi say o say boy mayor o boy dwuma yentie eye owura ye frɛ no eye Mr. Boateng ono so no da eye television eye technologies omo de plant ne ba no ma betene plastic waste no into eye fuel yentie no so na no di sama or the tudwa
Tutoa ewohosa plastic waste we na kogu ye nsuo no ye gutters ne ye water bodies ne mu ha adwen ye pa normally yes sa waste we are called dumping or landfill sites and I shit sa plastic waste we pushing so a husie na efrimu ba na ekɔ sa na ha adwen different problems and eba your company no Intellivisions Technologies Limited a company bia you need technology and I use technology they manage waste inti your partner with AMA to find ways by which you to use modern technology they deal with current plastic menace na you face your cities inti if you didn't hear ba no you the processed plastic waste no you be generate petrol, diesel, kerosene, any activated carbon.
Eti Mr. Boateng na yete ne nka no ono no da television technologies ano omo na de plant ni be sinkran na Accra kraba hwe enti ma membo Accra Metropolitan Assembly membo omo abaso pa ma ya de na Mr. Boateng suni na dwuma ya omobaye de aboa Accra Metro enti de etene no Accra yate asemde mamenko doctor Oda Agbezu Herbal Clinic ano menene nkodi enkomo me amete he metumi aka trel se wo ye bema na kodwo to de bia wo time wo 6:30 na wo kan ceiling eniema nkoyi a me kanfo doctor ya ma wate obeboa wo obi otumi to ndwom se enye saa na nyame ebo me de kra enye saa na nyame bo bra na be hu Dr. Agbezu a man infections are candidiasis ne syphilis ne ade ha mo ama ade anyame ehira so a ye frɛ ne demu de a ye nkyere munya bi udofo kompema na sansan aba infections nti wure dan mu fi hɔ a na aka hɔ wa wote ase na na ba hɔ mba biom ni na ye haw be ma infection say haw ba infection say haw ene ya ra horo a ama sesi anu ma he basa pepe betumi abo etu amo nti be pese nkomo de be boy no utie bi na utu anamon ko hwe na chi akwan Kwashima close to Chief Palace community 25 the wenya apem ho so be hu no ho Kumase for so oho sie nkomo no na wa beni yi me se wonya de me meso won hwe ya me nka wasem da maso ahwe na me hu se Dr. Agbozu odemufua tie ne nkomo no wi afre no ko na obeka se King Nicholas kan doka kwa aba bibi aboko de ejuma
King nyame adome
wo ma de ntia me hu an me ni age no because obi a waba me ho bia na wo bebisa wase wo me ho bia me kye ne bia no o hia me a good news no ka kire me wo secret na say
King mama ne kan chia ahwefo na mama bi kura ba me nche be bo wa so na mama ne kan chia ahwefo nso
obi age wo so
na de tie ne se mama no osimuja etunu pa na de na ochiniya na che se ode ko but also ofre oni Mugabe mu baako
ayeme
ofre o na ka che fa ko Agbozu na also opese oba betena ha yes na waka into one day ebi obefre me ne mba also no se me ne ba na sa Agbozu na ko hwehwe ho enti also no abeba ona afre ho nti ono abeba betena ha no abeka keke
obena mbru ma na mama no so aka ho
enti Agbozu Herbal Clinic say no man has an expiring date ye moto we a ye de nam no every see ye de nante ye no so ye sensitive form da onyankopon ene ya dance ni yes no man has an expiring date na che say be ma bia nwu ya ne be ma enwu na sa moto wi no e papa mpanyimfo ne Ghana mpanyimfo bi no e baaye etu anamo baaye chimpa Dr. Agbozu bi nche na nyankopon adom no adanse a ebinum de baaye no now when papa be the soft of from the special one in tears I mean you say Marino Graya yepe or see the special one sa and of framing if you say over 85 years now buy no na one of the no say we diff sa age na econo wo be ma no udi ahwe nyi enti na wuto on de no wato na adwenem it wo hwe mu fidie kase so na o say abranti yensem a working ma me nko so no buy no 1 week time na the views hun century any changes one in life muno and was now obe frame the special one when it comes to sexual problems and I say all cause of sexual weakness and fan ko baby the whole Ghana me pacho me branch in Drew hono mo kra na Free Agbozu Herbal Clinic ye be serve kama baby biara wo hwe me e de free the whole Ghana na say o erectile dysfunction and o erection problems bia we share me eno ano no sa ha no fatu baby say be a premature ejaculation and a how ubi a the boss wa na aba besin yirim a problem a ham rantie any awade a egu nyina na na de bia meka say so we abrantie na onya nware na afa na okwa ware a mesre wa sebra Agbozu Herbal Clinic na yemfa machines hwe wo mpamu ahoden wo problem a yen solve mo ansa na wakwa ware unim oba ware 2 days awade ne begu enye sika na uni bi enye sese bi mpredua so ho na enye fe na mmom no ompamu agudie no se enso oba ne ne a obetitiw papa de bia meka me kire mema se o premature ejaculation se o the boss wa na aba besin o mprantwe mu o relationship mu oni oba nkita hodie mu me pacho ahonto emmemu da wan we ya obeka so wakwa bonsam nso na enya bonsam wakwa de mmom no omodibo na enso ani no na oba ne empe na premature ejaculation se o mema bebre hu na emma bebre no o mo mfamo anu nka nkire o se treaty na mmom obesha ase a kire wo actions bi amwe say no o performance in bed is very poor ompe se o premature ejaculation o ya brantie from the age of 18 years and above o wompra o woyire ana safe na kwa ware a me pacho bra Agbozu me nchen na me examine o ti ase na me hwe wo be ma na ho odin o capacity se wo problem a ye ntruti ma wansa na kwa ware me paucho men konko yansan kasa wako fa oba na betra ho ansana wabegu hu ene mu asesa amre no waboka dada autographica ubi bekenka ati agbozo herbal clinic say Brian chen na wo premature ejaculation na be hu doctor me ma wadru na kondom 3 days to 1 week no paucho ugina oba no so ono na be ka chiro say ye ibi kura no e fa mo pant no mo dwane because of agbozo herbal clinic ya numbers no the good screen so no into the say oh one can ha no mo be frame was 0241 75 0282 ene many aji because I dance here back mienu bi mu ebeba bebai 0241 75 0282 aya brantem na wa medi like 0241 75 0282 0241 75 0282 so one can ha be bia wo medina adenta wo so manya odumase krobo wo ebru hanom kufuru dia nyina mu nyina no mudu medina mu faka ayeko kaso na mu nsi kwashima traffic light mo bisa kwashima na himfie na agbozo herbal clinic ye wo honom wara ochina nyankopon ya adom aye ye trans na ye adwuma from Mondays ekoko prim Saturday Sundays ni after church ye start and past 7 ni upon number 5 p.m. enti bra na premature ejaculation no yenhwe na yensa emam enti number edikan no eyenkran ha de na mabono wa wo hwe wo TV no so de toso mienu Kumasi 0553 41 7752 oh premature ejaculation oh 1 minute man wow fi say oh 1 minute because onam now to the word one pe wa dwen say wo di ne yebo if he say untwa tu ebo mpem oh Kumasi oh Ashanti regional ye wo dicham so May 5 Old Insurance Junction ye ne nkramofo asore dan na ne di hwede mu beba cho oh Kumasi agi number we na frame sisi an 0553 417752 so fre na numbers ni mi ko betimi afa 3 numbers ni nyina ya agbozo herbal clinic numbers emfa ho ne bia wo 0553 417752 ena tema mo amwo tema afienya dowenya voter region ho mu nyina no mudi mo ne be kire community 25 Savannah Junction ene yewo e ho 0557 for doctor ni sisi an ni nkomo 0557 402696 0557 402696 and yade ba ko ye friend hemorrhoid kokobu ye kokobu me pa cho kokobu ehihye ye hu kitinkitinkitinkiti emrante ne maba bibiri ene nkokurafo ne emrante emrowa ye kuja ye nan a ade bi be hye ye nto gese wuwie na wodon se pia kom ebi wo hanu mukura na edu so be kuja wo nan na ato adwendwen efri se kokobu no betua hanu ma na ye wo ya na kokobu kro ya na timi cause severe waist pains emma bibire ne mo mema wu mo si ewu agbozu ye si ada se wo kokobu ya de no a me pa acho na se wuja wo na kokobu no epie ba mframa ko mu be ma bia mfama ro mu bia no oda no 1 minute ana se onya weak erection me pa acho se wo kokobu problem ana severe pulse na na se fifi wo to oti ase ana se ohunam ani baabi ana se wo kokobu no aye kokokokokoko ana se bi wuja wo na epie na beto no pia ko hwem agbozu mi ho aduru pa oba mi ba cho ye be mu waduru me ba cho 3 days to 1 week no e be ka ko hwem kama na wafa ho ebi nkra de ehye ya o send the picture chem ehye ne ma ne ye black e menu atekoe ade ana efi ha te sempompo hemorrhoid no ana kokko wonti me fi obitu te sempompo udi nru ahodo be yeso nyina enko e pa cho e kokobu ana kuku stubborn one no e na yes aba agbozo herbal clinic e ma aduru be nom e ko mu ana ahye no me pa cho e be yo mu adwuma fi bi e wo mu no e be ye fri honom na sa pause no ana se hemorrhoid na mabium it is our hemorrhoid problem age no eye number obia infie bia wo biara se wo ya abrante wo ya akora wo ya akokora wo ya abrowa wo ya abesiriwa na wo sa problem ni bia me pa cho tutu amerika fo ani kira agbozo herbal clinic me pa cho ye wo hwadu pa a ye be ya mawa sa ya de no unhuru bium enti me pa cho freme wo nkra ha 0241 750282 wo Kumasi 0553 417752 mem frame number ne keke me pa cho fra no wetu hu anamon 0553 417752 enu Kumasi ena mo amu tema community 25 no 0557 402696 owo osa how da yim ni nyina ba agbozo e be hwa ma owo joint problems ebi wo no mo rheumatism ne arthritis how ni nyina ya de agbozo herbal clinic ɛbɛboa wo high blood pressure yi akɔsoro ɛna ama obi wɔ hɔ nom a ɔmfa baabi adwodwo ɔnsa ɔnan adwodwo ɛntumi nyɛ adwuma yie wowɔ hɔ nom a na ɔhonam baabi sa ɔnsa ne ɔnan nyinaa yɛ titiriti ne nyinaa yɛ agbozo herbal clinic wobɛba ne yɛahwɛ saa yadeɛ no ɛde ama ɛbɛmu aduru amoa nom asa wo yadeɛ wobaa yɛbɛyɛ test na afidie no aka problems a yɛwɔ ho no nyinaa kyerɛ yɛn yɛbɛma ho aduru kɔnom a yadeɛ no nyinaa bɛhoro ɛnti sɛ ɛfiri ɔsa so sɛ wowɔ asthma sɛ wowɔ arthritis wowɔ joint pains rheumatism ne nyinaa wode w'ani bɛkyerɛ agbozo herbal clinic yɛbɛsa yadeɛ no ɛde ama wo mepatwɛ baabi a wohwɛ me afiri bia no wowɔ nkran a frɛ me ɛwɔ 0241 750282 nkran yɛ 0241 750282 ɛna wowɔ Kumasi 0553 402696 Kumasi yɛwɔ Kumasi Dichem so main 5 Old Insurance Junction yɛne nkramofo asɔre dan no ketewa bi wɔ kwan no yɛne ne di mfie ne mu pɛɛ wodu baabi a yɛtontɔn nkonnwa no wɔ Dichem so a ubisa agbozo herbal clinic yɛbɛka kyerɛ wo yɛbɛn ɔmo pɛɛ baabi a yɛtontɔn nkonnwa no anaa wonim asɔre dan a meke nkramofo asɔre dan a yɛne ɔmo ne di mfie ne mu pɛɛ frɛ yɛn na bra na yɛn sɛ 0553 417752 ɛne yɛ Kumasi ɛna Tema Community 25 Savannah Junction ɛhɔ ɛne ɛwɔ after Community 25 more Palace more ufiri hanom ɛkɔ a mepaakyɛw Savannah Junction ufitura hanom ana akɔ Dowenya police station hanom ufiri Dowenya Afienya side so a utra Dowenya police station a baabi a yɛsi runabout ketewa bi wɔ hanom a ɛhɔ ne Savannah Junction usi wɔ hanom a na wobisa it is arthritis na how infertility ahodoɔ what you see a low sperm count no agbozo herbal clinic yɛ hu aduru papa ɛna ɔba afikyirikɔ udu fikyirikɔ mu a na obia te wonka ne hu sɛ bosome na so no ne nyinaa yɛ yade a agbozo yɛhwɛ wɔ yaso yɛ ɛna oyɛ papa panyi wagye 60 70 80 years na oda so tenkwa mu a yɛse no man has an expiring date aha na papa kokrafo no ɛyɛ na ebi mu frɛ me na ɔmo bɔ mo aba so ɔmo so mo ani gye moto no ho yɛse no man has an expiring date wagye 60 70 80 years o deɛ ne sɛ o wɔ weak erection anaasɛ o deɛ ne erection e delay pa ansa na sorry ɛna obi wɔ hɔ nom nso a in attempt koraa sɛ ɔne ɔbaa no bɛyɛ bibi edum ɛno ano no ɛna tie mi woyɛ bɛrima ne do ahomakye na ɔbɛrima ne nta nsɔre a nipa atwɔ ɛkra wo no ɛka kyerɛ sɛ baabae yɛ bibi fa ho enum aduru na mɛmi ahoɔde foforɔ enti ne sɛ woyɛ panyin na wodi from the age of 60 years and above na wowɔ erectile dysfunction a ebi wɔ hɔ nom a na ɛyɛ hormonal imbalance anaasɛ testosterone productions no ɛwɔ system no ɛne yɛ poor ne nyinaa ne sɛ wobɛtu anama aba Dr. Agbozo me nkyɛn na mekama kyerɛ wo sɛ wotu anama no aba me nkyɛn a 3 days 1 week no na erections no aba quick start no so Agbozo herbal clinic yɛ ma papa ɛne deɛ mmarima no a mopɛ baako bi afam na mpranhwɛ baako bi afam na mokɔ baabi quick start no ɛno kɔma mo wobaa sɛ doctor me mpɛ quick start chamhwehwɛ na wokɔ w'anim ɛno ne yɛ Agbozo herbal clinic ɛna wobɛba yɛ nkyɛn ne yɛyɛ saa treatment ma ɛnti sɛ ɔɔsa yɛbɛsa ma wo arthritis ɛna ɛha wo nsa anaa wo nan baako adwodwo wontumi ɛnante yie wosisi nyinaa yɛ wo ya wapɔ so asma ntehyi w'ani nyinaa ɛha wo ne nyinaa ne sɛ wode w'ani bɛkyerɛ Agbozo herbal clinic mepaakyɛw woba nkran yɛ wɔ Kwashima ne yɛbɛyɛ Kwashima ahemfie ne pɛɛ ɛna wokɔ Tema Community 25 Savannah Junction ɛna wokɔ Kumasi a yɛwɔ Dichem so Old Insurance Junction pɛɛ ne yɛwɔ mepaakyɛw ntumi bre no ɛndɔɔso ɛno nti na ba yɛntumi mbɔ yadeɛ bebree enti yadeɛ a yɛntumi yanka no fra Agbozo herbal clinic na bisa yɛ ho asɛm yɛbɛkyerɛw sɛ yɛyɛ a yɛbɛka yadeɛ ahodoɔ a yɛbɔ so nyinaa so deɛ neɛ yɛsam wɔ yɛaso yɛ papaapa ɛtu pɛ quality treatment about hemorrhoid about erectile dysfunction premature ejaculation anaasɛ arthritis ulcer ahodoɔ a the quality treatment and a quality health care no ɛno no yɛ only Agbozo herbal clinic ɛna abɛba yɛn nkyɛn woyɛ abaya woyɛ abranteɛ obia tumi bɛbi yadeɛ ɛwɔ wo so no a yɛabobɔ no sɛ wate na typhoid fever ɛhaw ne nyinaa ne sɛ wode w'ani bɛkyerɛ Agbozo herbal clinic yɛbɛsa wo yadeɛ nyankopɔn yɛ adom a ɔkyena yɛyɛ all kinds of general screening ɛwɔ yɛ clinic hɔ nom nti yare biaa wobɛba no yɛbɛyɛ screening ahwɛ baabi a yadeɛ no ɛfiri yɛbɛma ho aduramoa no ɛbɛkɔ nso enti me berɛ no ayɛ bere nti wowɔ Akra ha no mu a frɛ me wɔ 0241 75 0282 me kasi na ofre 0241 75 0282 esan WhatsApp 0241 75 0282 Agbozo Herbal Clinic WhatsApp number back on 0241 75 0282 what's our friends who are Ebebana doctor Menu Akasa and Uwo Kumasi 0553 40 0553 417752 Kumasi 0553 417752 and Kumasi 05 Tema 0557 402696 numbers no egu TV no so screen no so entini nyina ya Agbozo ya number to betumi afre bia region bia wo northern region obetumi abakumase oboasefo nyina mechiamo batese yesu kumase mo ba pa enti oboasefo mechiamo Ashanti region nyina metwa obi salute mombra Agbozo menchen na mensa emema nyina ya de typhoid the problem na wo so fraying na we kira ko wo nkran hanom so a the whole akra metwa mo salute mo ya de yi papa enti mo fa problems na mbra Dr. Agbozo menchen na mensa mo ya de nyankopon enhyiramo maune ejomo mauna yira nyame o yira nyame nhyira se wo hwe me nyankopon esama next week ye be session ochena 7 o'clock am kwashiman meto honom etwen so do ya de be me da se so hwe me na team nyame nhyira
Merasa papa panti Dr. Agbozo da Agbozo Herbal Clinic no na yete ne nka no wura ho a wankasa obekasa ne kre ya Agbozo ampa titwa na mo na kɔ na emboa bi ohia bia na nkomo de abɔ no wosokɔ no ntumi mboa na je ho fi yare ahuri na mu na woso wakasa no kre Agbozo oye Dr. Demfua me nkɔgya aboafo nkrato mbra ye ba me ho bi aso ye de to also.
The National Petroleum Authority hereby cautions persons engaged in illicit storage and trading of petroleum products to comply with the regulatory requirements to operate in the downstream petroleum industry. The NPA Act clearly stipulates that no individual shall engage in any commercial activity related to the importation, exportation, re-exportation, shipment, transportation, processing, refining, storage, distribution, marketing, or sale of petroleum products in the downstream industry without first obtaining a license from the NPA board. Failure to secure the necessary license and properly regularize operations will result in confiscation of petroleum products, prosecution under the law, and decommissioning of facility. For more information, contact the National Petroleum Authority on 0302 550 380. You can also visit our head office located at Jolu of the N1 Highway or any of our regional offices.
Na ede na ya obeya oda formason ya funu emunumuni.
Oh Mr. Entry also yare ya titi be benfie pi nanso ne yam nyono da se me kire onu ahodo amato a me hunu hwe ya ebe ya nwanwa
menyi ni se what ulcer tamfo hexa capsules any hexa mixture yanum bom kotia ulcer no bia ma no anom anka ne ho ato no dadaada ulcer dro de eno ani hexa capsules any hexa mixture
ankom ni nchiremu
ulcer ye kura eto ye funu ene ensunumu etuma wo ye funu ekeka wa wogire ho a enye ulcer etumi ema wo ye cheko ebra wadidi awie so how eye ulcer de a compare hexa capsules any hexa mixture nanum bom na ho ebeto
pedudu etu a ko okanshi drug lane Kumasi Dani Herbal Takradi AA Mensa Anafre 02038228855 Apefo abatanya woma won mofra no fo ene mofra woni mfiedu mienu enka ho Hexa capsules ene ne mixture
ulcer tamfo edie age edwadie nkrato yi atom.
Hi. Now let me tell you about Safari Valley Eco Resort, the first of its kind in West Africa. Upon your arrival, you are introduced to your butler, who plans your itinerary.
We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park.
So many activities, all in the same property. Visit the gym or the stables, they have it all. At my break, I'm able to practice my putting.
We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife and how to interact with them.
They used only electric electric vehicles here. This creates a serene environment. I'm told it's over 1,000 acres. My cabin here sits on 2 acres with a large terrace space overlooking my private swimming pool. Now this is royalty. They have their own farms, thousands of fruit trees. I can also have my lunch here at the waterfall. Beautiful place you have here.
Visit Safari Valley Eco Resort in Ghana, bringing you closer to nature.
Obrebo eye ejumada. Ebwa eyam ediane. Ebwa eyi insa free ni peduani. Na ebwa woni pedua ma etena ho yi. Nanso when we say niema di na yenom timi ma brebo ye ejumaden sen pote
me hunda me brebo ye ejuma pa e bia se me ntumi ye bibi bo me brebo
ani and nothing about the live here from the Moses Clinic ne Herbal Center about herbal food supplement we see pa de bo brebo ama e ye ejuma ye
na ye ejuma
Fatopa yenum yeno, anopani enyumre, na ebuama obrebo ye juma ye, sani ebeya, ebetimi anyam eduani awodi, siesi ni peduani mo, eyi mo finsi ye.
Eno na me brebo kia pa.
Ubenya Live Kid or pharmacy, herbal shops, ne supermarkets a ebeo. Sa wope duduo so etu a, 0244 06 8447. Live Kid. Wawo brebo wawo ni pedua edro yi enye ma apemfo e ma e ma omomanofo ne mmofo a wonya mfie dumie FDA agi dwedie krato yi atum.
The serene environment fits into the goal of the school, which is simply to provide excellent educational foundation for your ward's development before they commence primary education. At first glance, clearly you will see why the school is called Hebron Hills International School, as the building stands tall overlooking town. With a Montessori style, we have experienced and dedicated staff and trained teachers. Our small sizes classrooms are meant to enhance teacher-focused approach where children get one-on-one attention from the teacher. Hello there. We are open at 7:30 a.m. and school closes at 2:30 p.m. After school care is from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., while early drop-off can be arranged at 6 a.m. Hebron Hills International School is located at Midye off the Nsawam Road. Locate us with GP postcode GW0688 GA West and GPS code 06884870. You can contact the school and make further inquiries on 050-876-2375 or call the office directly on 0302-918768. Email us at hebronhills.school@gmail.com. Hebron Hills International School. Excel and shine.
Mesamo akwa babiom the TVXYZ baby awa wo hwe bibia emredra mensebe gubamba so ye ba ebedi eho enkomo ye wo eye Isaac Ezwa waha Isaac Ezwa eye member of the NDC our more external branch and say ebeka say diaspora Australia eho no wo and this will be page you made so to be boy abruchin komo kakra party no it's saying Australia Ghana for union Ghana for more Australia omodom NDC no dima kwotene ye pa and then ha enchese be list wo nana poku so be pm ha list wo so on no executive director de Magog nti ekuku da me na me no mo bedi dwuma ende to ra Isaac Ezwa mama na akwaba uni akwaba bibi aboko de ya say shia say last year is it last year last year before elections said by yen we didn't come on yami adom asan be kan
yejina mu de
mo beto ma ba ina kama
that's right
yami hira mo so ma mo abrochi me ma mo ba e beto aba e de boaye was mo vote crack council
and ma bia sort out
Anti a hoboko dear.
A hoboko na kin the problem is say NDC delegation be by Australia. So yes. The same day na me fi Australian and that was the day a day before Molande.
Delegation
deputy majority leader in the team no.
Okay.
When some by Australia for conference
okay.
I'm sure somewhere about town.
Okay.
But the day no mobile land na me so me bagana.
Okay.
Nti me no mo bon sound. Chairman friend me say anka yenko ne yenko shia o money ade but unfortunately na me so me parking me time no enye adwuma. But many videos be your back door like reception was great.
Great.
Nti NDC Australia chairman Kelly, Eric Kanyoke, the guys, David Emilia and the husband, he's a great guy.
Okay.
Hope some more show.
Boy, and Komoka Cray, Ayana, ye pese you, Moamodom, Aya Mayoku, NDC, Amoabro trade, Moso Kwaya, Mofaso to Tomoniema, Mamuhu, Ghana, and ma Abaye, boy, and Komoka Cransa.
Yes, Ken, so one who says, Siano, like with social media no ama ko say we asisi a global village na tetene yeka ba na ho akade ni ho but sisi a internet ni sa na ma no intinu sisi a bibia social media o head we are vloggers in some ekoso na do say bibia we are very close to the issues so what I say inti ema we really monitor what is going up here and me need to amamu dada na etwemu no any amamu we are ebuna Obia can attest to it. I have a lot of MPP friends.
Okay.
They know say it is Omoba no yet very below His Excellency Muhammad
Wow.
But they will not tell you the truth. But the point in is telling the truth or not, the evidence is very clear. Because first now it's a chrono but now a new rap.
Okay.
What do I say? But now no to me say Krono anya wura wo ho a ohwe man no so ntutua yes ohwe na mamma bruni sa nkokrasem because His Excellency Muhammad nani wo disability any the first pillar to handle a state.
Okay.
The speeches be brain sama matete o kanyina no amama kuma tomi because your special program be wo ho we want to attach it to the Muhammad case now or the abano. That will be said after maybe program church will be much
more special program.
Yeah, program be it's like health transport. In this health transport you know.
You be Australia.
Yeah, be Australia. Be Australia. Yeah, very good. You are bridging into 3 platforms.
Okay.
It is said yes. But we know different 3 platforms. Your government transports, your friend is saying disability ones, and the main traveling transport. But so far no.
Okay.
Be at the table so you are submitted to. But Akababi said the last final one echo.
Most of it to him.
Yeah, health ministry.
Okay.
And about consult transport ministry.
Okay.
Our chief of staff, but we need to talk about the new Hunkwai in Nabakunko, His Excellency office, because he on a basis I bet me a brief.
Okay.
Now I have good presentation on one proposal now. Ubunsa and then the oil in a honeyco. No.
And also, ye bibia, and also, say, effect, nay, you should say, Mohu be so approach him to Australia, say, number say, also more would be banner a beboa a bino. Mammy be so. A buying by infant say 8 months, 9 months. Now, woman say, or share and can the previous government you may do dear no share on Muhammad 8 months here and so being a more brooch you may money ade mamu
it is said a mechanic so what do any better for
sector by sector
no what to me say His Excellency the projection ni na agenda ya resetting na sa reset na waka ho asem no what to me say sector bia no performance no actually mean traha mo boss figure way but say very mild abibia a flow normal inti I dey say mamu na yebu no I say issue a ne hu no e flow a na masie but the end result no and ebe me hu amamu a yebu no inti me dey be empire me boy appointees no because papa no wayi ni yem so be adwuma what they say inti adwuma na his excellency dey si nani so oye no wa we appointee bia wo man mu no ese o man wani da ho say won so be support agenda no ya reset your mind way because first no na it is a merry go round in mu na ne yewo so what you say e kwa na si ni trase but now no ye ni merry go round in bi e pese hu say ntoto ya ye toto ni nyina ye bewie no na timamfo ne Ghana man na mu be hu say adwuma ya abo no say sebio said na those times ya kan wasanti mam say wo de aponche kura begina ho ya beto abama no saa na ye pese o amamu wo ye wo mu no ye say wie na say de okra kura begina ho a o beto abama NDC inti party NDC no ene de aban ne bae
correct
inti yentumi detach ye hu fi amamu no we are part of the government inti this is the situation I say hu say sa amamu dada no nye bi ne yebu no inti wo hwe sector to sector na say wo bisam na utum say far ahead they know inti wo hwe ne ma ekokoso ne ade na nyame na meka but utum say difference ne very clear
okay
so what you say
okay yeah but delve into obi my so the 80th UN General Assembly a course so and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama okasa bebre or say Africa is the future okasa say UN here reset agenda climate change a real o demand a reset ankasa maye bia yesi to me and normalize racism ne meka ho ibium slave trade must be recognized as the greatest crime against humanity or can be be a 24-hour economy promises to transform the economy or can say we are tired of huge foreign controlled natural resource concession area ni na no nsema or the two dra or can send be brain ankasa em say was wo tie bi yen sha sene yen delve into the speech or the kotu dra wo the 80th AU General Assembly yen sha so
yeah I'm saying Mishadati His Excellency speech no
okay
but one who say African paying for no so muko share a mindful froso paying for what is the Western countries na omuntumi CP and come wakumu mu asem fan chromo but we share His Excellency na ho keka any boldness anyhow I see my speech na whether wo peo ni ade wo ye broni wo ye hwan ni ade it is not about a friend is saying cut line bi obetumi aka say eso anka o yesi eso utumi so o kan assembly direct no o kan ni say asisie me interpret a me pese me hunu say o kan say asisie bi wo ho a akosomre bi atwam wahu but I say nipa bu nani aguso they say bibia ye pepepe and o mo aye to say a substandard a continent which is Africa
okay.
But it is not so because your negotiation power no very low
okay
because a country of me say a continent of Africa now control the largest 2/3 of the world's greatest resources no adinti na esanka yetumi tena ho ma obi fi o man bi so be kire de yenye o be kire be wi no atumi afa se agudi a obetumi afa 90% na ye afa 10% obi ani asase wo so obetumi akọ obi man so western countries no so okutu agudi o ho na wakofa 10% o ade ama o man no ono be make sure so benya the greater quantity no na wo wanya the minimum what I say but the way His Excellency Kasai based on the way Obisai utumi say obona dwim bie na kumam sanso aye research into all what he was talking about and he was on point. Until I live with a lot of people in the diaspora in a big debate which of course Mihuni say that is the way to go because we share sanko for no something like this UN team near there. That's what he was saying here permanent seat where between me who say yeah, part of it, and the financial sector, and also he spoke about it. I just say they don't need to leave Africa on the floor. As you to make sure say you participate fully because resources na no Africa han because sebi King Matra UK 8 years me to UK no first year na me call I said to myself, na when no more apart from Aberdeen no more gold kakra bi or honey or ibi kakra. They don't have anything. UK it's only transportation. Any taxes no more organizing no more di hu or ha no means ro na make it is true. We so bia or ha. Ono mutumi ye omo man yie. Nti se ye bibi man mu aye te ha ne ye wo bibia wa asase we so no. Say you to me she na ye shemra papa ema ye ho. They said look at this gold board issue. A very good standard. And yes ye gem yes ye strengthen the more mum. Inti aba ne say na yes ye so far bra ye wo bibia. So what you say? Inti sebi his excellency in some no keka ani nyina no. It is on point. Ama mani agye se metie broche na mabagana. So me number bi na me hu say same say kwaso a. Me won na for Sudanese for be his excellency can Sudan for asem. Omo frame me omo ntitwi anka mbomudi what I say the one musia catch omo ni age your president is very intelligent he said something about a refugee system and so what I say this is the boldness we want so what I say there be also a friend na pokumi tie no or you passionate about politics near your Ghana hano but sometimes you know yetiti hani ne mana nsebi e beka no but that is the real thing. Politics are practical. Niema bi wo ho a be fi sa agro ne edi but wo ye na wo ye ni a wo be nsa ade na wo ye no mfaso be baso nti amamu we mesra appointees no ma obi afa ni agro wo didi agro na reshuffle ba na e kanwa enkotra baby anye dede simple as that because his excellency ni abre they say ye nyina ye ta na chi aye boa se be ye mpuntu be ba nti kin ubisa ya asem no tintin in city aro no
okay and rhyme say na ye stream live I hear me say na poku so no stream be live but say na me hwe nti list all and na poku so abe cancer ono no executive director de Magog nana akwaba
yenua ken
na de me no ya kwadi sremu I de na ba no waje aka ho o se che no ho
enura ade ba ko ana His Excellency was saying they can wear nature. Oba me pambia command.
No, Yami Shra.
Next time no Kobe Biasa.
But I mean, the way they are to be a check on a yana, will be a non one and on person.
Say, be your pump and where's the sunny
okay.
Be a channel.
Miss Media baby, when committee, on Semitino soon. Mood tickets, so the Ayana doing them.
And one
Nipa Pen and it is so.
I didn't be any more
as our cramwood. Maybe I will call it.
Nyami Adom, but also baby of fear. Yeda, Nyame Ase Papa. Now I'm say, ye delve into His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and any speech or the copy more the 80th UN General Assembly or New York. Say, Uriano Ghana pe Africa will be a bon semaman. Cause ye hear leaders for Africa will meet me a boat. It me a can of crano at Cherkwesi Bruni. And raw ye boat can sema here. So say Africa. It to me a sorigina. Na Sanya Mansu, you did 2 animal, name a Kwesi Bruni TSA. Yes or no, Sebi wa ye nyabum fiansa. Yen tiewe, was so in speech and how uhuno.
Enra, yada, who say, Senior and Chroma Kayan. The black man is capable of managing his own affairs. May a fan of John Mahama not because of Sebio Nihuna Eme Fekeke. You will be a one in Hofe Unisubai. You will be a Honman in Hofe Uninim dear. You will be a wa Yankupon de Bibia Chana. Edin say Adasabe whom be.
I know correct.
And Chroma, ye Bibia, I do not any terminus of chain in Nipediana, not Ehun. Na Ura Mahama, you'll be a. Edru baby a o kana semwa akoye se sabi de oni mu asa no o sa no wachia ne pa o yobi a odanso mi hu obi wo wiase we mu a otese John Mahama so obi tese na bia wo sua no esi aboa no opene kok ne kase aya na se opede sade adore na osua preku enu nti and yet by mistake, and I said, sorry, and I say, no. Of all the personalities I've seen in this country, ono na me pena asema me pese sebio me de me hu nyina manu wo amayosemu menya ndisi ni menye ndisi card da but he attracted me because I saw so much in him that I haven't found ever in this dispensation here yewomui and Enra, if there is a word that would best qualify the Oyena, Kametimia borrow the word perfecter, because the word perfect is only existent because of God. But Enra, John Mahama explained why God can exist in human. Perfect, without any blemish, not even one. No be betimiaka sadie we otosini wo ho. It's like a rehearsed speech. A speech what taking the time feeling mofra brim what dori ho adwene ho said that chi bi minya akonya wo you and animu a asem we na me pesa meka. And he delivered it without any qualms. Every one of the statements will make you made billions of senses. And you hear now I couldn't control myself on my page at some point.
Oh yes.
I couldn't control it because me say me throw away. Manu si no side for frabetum. Na masa commende manu si no sa. I mean it's like I say wa shada yem na adwen say me free me mo frabremu nyina say that me benyini na me yema mpani a asemu a me pese me ka kire wiase. And why you who rehearsals and a walker. Meanwhile, this was a speech that was delivered partly extempore, partly with script. And you know, many J. I found the need to consider being a Ghanaian and a proud Ghanaian again yesterday, because the oye ne nura no a certain lost gloria na ye try say ye be redeem asaba. That's why ene masem fugu no
enwa no
nka me be fra bonwire kente na me kai say na no me fra tomanti no and then me say kusrim, because I am proud that I have such a kind as my president. Enche biao ena ye man pani dada Akufo-Addo kojina sa simpie na so wa bone hwene e ka brofo amabrodi busan se pardon because he is not even making sense. He wasn't making sense on such a beautiful platform where a man penny for ko tia dwen say sign na mo pese wiase enye. What was he talking about? John Mahama was discussing why any say ewiase obi dwen say obi chen obi, because wo wa dwen ya wo say wo betimi adi intro to Africa so na wa ma Africa emu nipa yesese bi ene, because that's what you want the world to see Africa. Na momo ma yehu Africa say so wo yetim na ye wo ya onu so yetim na ye ne ya
okay.
So his themes for the discussion was to place equality in purview. Send ye be ya broni yin say oye nipa che bibini na mu wi madam hu dua broni asa ba bibini ma mu say wono mo na wo ma nye ye, because everything natural resource mo be fa no my Africa mu o tire bi ntia e se fata say broni ebe buse obi ye immigrant o tire broni a ofra manoni ba o man mu a wan fa kwan paso wa Africa o tire Africa fo a ya wo mo wo amanoni ana say o mo maamenom eye illegal immigrants a omo so aba mfaso wa amanone bo din ahodo kyerɛ mu sɛ senkasa nipa no oye judge oba na oye the first black judge ofi Ghana ha no senka ya wono wa brochie ho a nenka umbede na umanya sabi saa nipa no eseso enti enra de I was so proud of President Mahama. He made Africans proud again. He made us look what we really are. Say, adwene any nyansa ewe trim. Far better than the Bruni dream. He made a reason why I was say Bruni who bibini a obuno. Esa say bibini ne so on faso. Emra o kasana na BBC mitrim na mbusa me ho say. Ohu ya nikosua ya ye han ya wo hu. Se white ne na atwa tuntum ne ho ahia. White no opa ye said de okata wani na black ne pen show. Black ne hu bibi. White ne hu hwe. Sana bibini ni broni tie. Bibini ene hu adepa. Bibini ne woni ndie. Adie bia kwesi broni si woni bia no e bibini na kire no. Upa yenko in the realms of inventory. Ni ehwe hwan na inventing hwan na inventing dien. Uba se bibifo na inventing ni o ma bebre. Na eyesu ni ban bia bibini entimi en hyene ho so wo ho ena ma abibifo sebi yentimi enkura yemu die ena ma akwasi broni efa yenomum bibini ayese na ntwi a onim na ho oden enu nti obekọ na nkwase dem na akola ketwa broni kitikiti small boy na waso ne mene na otwa ten. And that has been the center of all my arguments all through my political life, because I think, say, ada akwesi broni ebehu bibini se bibini ye say no. Na bibini so behu ne ho say minie no. Sada no racism esubetwa. Bibini mom anhwe a obe racist against obroni because obehu say me kwese mini ho a broni ntimi ntena wiase. And all over the world, I tell you, mini ebedi mi ho adanse say obi bia wakotena manone bibini bia no se wo free adwuma bi mu a adwuma ni tosini broni ntimi nye enye bibia o adwene ni nyansa nyankopon de bo bibini no eso che broni de so hwe even leather ewo wiase a leather den no na free widia ewo tuntum leather emre bia ye memre bia ye wedia kokko enu nti na bibini ne so wonfa so eche broni a billion times enti se be hwe de ora Mahama kan na onu kura de no pese obe kire se bibini kura eye more important than broni na mo wo kire se ye gura etipen a ebe boa ma ewiase afane ntoma pa efra. And on that score no okan bibi fa ema ya omuhu behia se ye de omu be wura ya man yo semu obo Professor Jane na Opoku Ajimadin all man congratulations na o che se wa ye example the bedroom baby no pese enka UN General Secretary no kra no enyo ba afi me te ho na che se at some point bibi am say che se me read TV nim na nka me nkaka se Mahama yenye udeni uye buei Mahama yenye udeni uye buei so me dey imagine me say ye was oyi se ne fantika no na you say a prophet is not liked in his own country. The first time Yeshua prophet say no by far Musa Dankwa will tell you John Mahama is much more liked than any other president we have found on this earth called Ghana. Even while he's president. Obedi ni man penye wie akotene fie and he will still be liked because you see we made one very fortunate good to society by re-electing him as our president, because kanino na no twasa na no news na chiachia ene de sebi obetimi abu nkompa ko hwe na chi se ne enura me ye ya na enye no ma memra na me nsiesie enu nti na oba ye bibi bia o ye sebi o ye nipa isinto e wo ho na so sense na e din so behu ni sinto because wakotena fie ohun achewachew ni bibia ekoso enu nti na sebi onye obi a okoye bibi wi no abedwe ho na emom rada no odwe ho wi no ababeye abrewa chedem a panifo se na osiesie no bibi akam bia minim so obeya moma na yekra behwe but say ye ka the UN General Assembly speech ni ho asem a am my proud to have John Mahama my president.
Wow.
And so it is my platform a judge for a kuku dam
Jem Guso.
Yeah, omoye abrofu UK 4 ne US 4 omo a certain a year omo friend of Commonwealth BB me platform so come and see the commendations. Claps. I feel almost he was very bold and articulate.
Yes.
Concise in nature. Boni Baku speech, so many of them.
Wow.
So many of them. African progressive platform be so. And also so many of them. And I couldn't find that when we had Bibini Bruni Ekufuado, Arish Kontomria Sebi Shinim as president. So I think he is worth emulating. And John Mahama president di Ghana Hano Bano Akuriem to the point say you always have to make sense to be part of society in the discourse, in public oratory, in speeches, and also in how you comport yourself. That notwithstanding, I think say the argument still will stand say Nyankopɔn bo bia differently. Nanso John Mahama de ani de em say nyame ebo no soronko. Enti ye be mana mo ne yo so wati o man anim, wati Africa anim. He say broni hwen a on hwen with the lenses anaka ne o de hwen ani biem. Obehu say no sene Nkrumah a professor no abem the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
Medase into list one and apokuna yete and kano. Mamenfa happy birthday shonko emfema Mrs. Charlotte Kweba Gazy. Mrs. Charlotte Kweba Gazy. Enti medeno Mrs. Charlotte Kweba Gazy ono na odasono yemano happy birthday yemame enti baby awobiano ma yemo happy birthday papa and then oda TV na sono baby
beauty art
the age nana. Okay, age in the M10 but
beautiful.
No
She's still beautiful.
She
looks much beautiful than the younger ones.
No creature wash no hu
yeah.
Timombi baby will be I more happy
birthday Mrs. Charlotte Kweba.
Yes, easy. Yes, fanta.
Wow. Kweba.
Yeah, happy birthday. Ti baby will be ama ichi papa. Yeah, more happy birthday. We che dina meetia momi dina meetia Dr. Albert Brown Gazy, former Chief Fire Officer. Doctor wasu ye chiao and amuso na birthday be kan sama ye de birthday amaye mambinti Dr. Bibia will be aso ye chiao papa Dr. Albert Brown Gazy, former Chief Fire Officer the Ghana Fire Service was so ye chiao papa Edibre ye twaso ana ye hwe ye galamsey fight say wiki so ensema don so abrimpa ya ka ho nsem bebre na nkasa Australia there two gold or when him gold moon
responsibly
responsible
mine responsibly
the same ebe cooperative mining
yes
enti yen hwe galamsey fight am den rakra no ba na yedi hu nkomo kakra yendi hu nkomo wo hwe so far galamsey nsem te say yenim say 8 months aban na bon ho mbodin ye wo hwe obi a 8 years ede ma no wentumi anye hwi na obi 8 months pe na masha asi ye dede na mu demonstration na meka ho yenti we Isaac Ezwa
Kinem say with the issue ni dia me hu ni say a bit of frustration MPP side no and the other ya on be dede sort ya say because say abrabono say ye discover ona like mo ko school mu ye nuafo mienu ye de ma na mo ko no wo de totofe wo kwan so na wudi na wanigi a ebo breaker wonua no ni nyansa na wan fasika ntotofe no ye bo breaker anfe no okoto aduane bi ye friend pewa it is a pewa no okoto abu se wo de adutofe na ekomedo obi se wo sano na ni plate ni kura ni say wo de adi wape wo de oma ono di kodi pewa it is an akoye MPP for aye omo atase but initiative. The problem is we said the make kind of comparisons are made in the real thing a woman is leadership, okay. Into the see me the sebio me sebi a spectator mean to me and said the agron be kuyi ban painful e hye niema no ene nkomo bia etino e chire just omoni abrea e pese 2 hours galamsey semi so. But
say and rebe they just say lands and natural resource ministry in the abetu just say forest and a river insecurity zone.
Very good. Into like that one no that is also
blue
good.
Water gas format
yes kin and also no cre but we be tie me ye pa leadership na make no very broad. So they say and just leadership say it be a sebi His Excellency Nkwa no onye we and Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and Environment Nkwa a whole protocols na say a year juma because one ye opposition no na MPP for me dem boni pim me nka say ya fa for no MPP for no mo say issue no
correct
but na amanfo so wo gidie we mu say responsible team as a party NDC say ba anye kra betumi aye hu bibia sin NPP for no nti ye ba ye no sisi American issue no esaya na say ensay that is my argument what has sisi America but so far as say what assurance and paying for na toto niema no de ni niema omo ye ne de mama ye nwe hu too much sa but end results no and ebe me hu say o man no ni aban no o tu anamopa e o galamsey hu ana mama ye remfi so say sisi a gold board na ya ate no gold board no enye boba na ebetum dia fix gold board no esika kokko ya na ese de fix na nimonim ya no ese aban set mechanism bi o me move in straight said the wo kan ya o ka say ye be declare security zones e o mining site no na ye take advantage sabi obi nyo bia nsen Ghana ni bia nsen ye nso NDC okroma it is a so ye use say make sure say responsible mining na mama ye paying for no nyo mo adwene say o mo be ma MPP ni bi ne nam chen take control say ska won hunti o be manipulate a releasing ye so ye NDC no what they say into sa niema ye no munya dede no kra ye be make sure say ye beto to niema masa program we akoso ye ni aye responsible mining na ye feed gold board no em ye nya better reserves Emma brofo no yenkotokoto abrofo bi abrofo ti se me na poku kan no me de keto bi so so ha me ko Australia and my first job am here no I work with the UN as a fundraiser
okay
na team na ye adwuma no ye leader no o Sierra Leone ne friend Kenewa Kamanga nyame fa ne crazy ye sebi wanya cancer wu nansan so what you say entino ono administratively paperwork bia office wono ono ye abrofo na wo ho nyina mo gi billions wo UN ho no o muntumi nye sankrata sem no me call no mo de me share them say no mo kyerɛ me niema bi a menye face of a UN no mo de gisika no omo de bibifo na eye because bibifo anim no mo tua sika no omo fa abrofo anim nye nso omo de eye na ye gi billions no mo ama ye sika fia bi wonim say enkoye yi nkwase abu nti omo sisi mi a mija adwuma no me obi de ka bebo me ka chi mi accident me gi insurance no omo she da farmachi kwa investigation wo UN ho say ekwan ben so na me fa ege adwuma no omo se me pepe ntumu ntina omo se omo ntum ena me maje adwuma no so na ntisa me konya adwuma na yesen sa na ma mijaye so nti bibifo nkwa na omo di ska no enso no omo bu bibifo no kwase nti se de ye kan yina kosi na poku asem so ne his excellency asem no so no bibifo de da nwuma wa brochia no nyina mo ye very effective na ya hu na ne de ye hu ya hu na ne de ye hu ti kin asema ye kan nyina ne se e fa galamsey nsem no mama ye ntiatie ni pa asem inhyehyɛ no mama ye man too late ene ye ka say justice delayed is justice denied inti say ye be hye nhyehyɛ pa na immediately na me ba ade kye me ko mase yie wo achim osafuma afukuro mo efe ozen odan so ti ase nsuo bi de dada ho asay too much pa inti ye make sure say niam be kokoso ntem na ye sisi anom na anya responsible mind na yeden aye na ye mabru no so omo so complaining nyuma no mo anya niam aye na yetumi aye na 24-hour economy so etata achire ni sa nkokon gidi issues ebe ma ye nyina ye ho atoye nya ye nko as NDC ba man no youth no ho tona ebe ma ye ni age ebe ma mpuntu nso aba omanim sika sem to ye enwuma sem nnuane ni ade a eno ane ye pe hwi ni ho a ehwe bio because baby et no yete ye China for sika wo wiase pa nso mo senkofo aman eno mo de to dan akese wo amanone hwesesi akrom ho Australia mete no China for agi kuro no omo sika too much wo kuro no so China for me na me catch student keke kura masa ka so mo papa sika fo etete China ni Africa to amomo no we sika ni kura hu ka na ofere so I say because omo adwene say omo apolutu omo industrialization e wo China into amodia o de be say asase yeso ye be to dan wo krum wo Saturday auction e Australia wo be kwa kotu dan ba ko ayeto no nipa 40 broni 2 China 38 China so be to so I say they all know it obi to me ni obi sure say these people are really taking over our country omo catchro it is anima we nyina ye nhyehyɛ ni bia
so galamsey no mo ye bi Australia
galamsey ye Australia na ye gold ye fa no opal OPAL ye the gold chain to say we are
no munya na akese
ebi ni Africa dabi
opal no
it say gold na no aboriginals na ye omo kuro no
okay aboriginal
omo baby omo tipa na ya pam omo
afi
forest ya pam omo afi cities na no mo kogu kuro bi so UN adarment me ko ho ye fra Lighting Ridge we are check your online we be hu Lighting Ridge no kwa pits no wo ho to say Ghana galamsey pepepe but they are very regulated we be ko ho no but because of omo woska bebre but trauma na ye kuro mu sebio me Australian citizen do ye de omo ko mu no omo bonsa wo ska de dakasa kesi omo bonsa ne ade ba Lighting Ridge yeah omo bonsa
aborigine for no
omo bonsa pa se wiase omo bonsa se obi a wo wiase
caravan park
obeko caravan park wo caravan park ho no me koda ho because of you and we needed to talk to the people the any omo kasani ade ne how e be ne ade na they have a small shopping center or Lighting Ridge ukwa obehu ho omo base no you call pit side nyina kwa excursion
so galamsey by responsible
most galamsey site omo ye omura forest mu ye Perth say honorable amabo and mukoye but because they are so responsible enough into no they will not even let you know say galamsey koso ho so we call her as tourist and now person wa back room ho say we be hwe say the mining corner that's because they know how to handle them It is the same thing they said to say even.
But so said then I say meet the press president or can I say Australia no more galamsey.
Of course they do.
See okay president.
Very well regulated.
It's very well regulated.
Yeah, regulating because me in America to say Sebio say me call Australia no say my call all the states not by my own transport by the UN transport. Hotel feeding per day they paid for me. I have records. Why you see my name on their list. Into no me can be beer, me cancel be the catcher me. My travel all around Australia. It made me a church but they are very intelligent enough say. Omo yes I fundraising a human e kwa omo faso nyeska wa omo abroad no ho no. It will amaze you. Nana Boku, I'm telling you. Omo wa kwa faso hwe omo okuro keto bi to say Tari Toncaster Tonkerry na Foster ne aye swimming pool wa epum. And skafo nyina ba ho ebedware ni ade na ho ye green to the sense wo hwe ni nsuo na obeko achi no aba entrance so what as entrance hotels e wo ho nyina China for there na wo ko ho ni ade a ekwan mefa so mema mo agiskafo ne ho nyina skafo gu ho omo ye strategy bi ni ade no ma choro ye hia nsuo ye hia we be so bi ba say sa no mi hu mu se mo nam ha bra nem pesa me sign be hu no amount $1,000 a month direct debit undertaking it ye be ko ye be bani ade no you don't beg omo na volunteer tua into omo de omo ye giving when it comes to donations into this is the reason why I make us say Cecia to say His Excellency Mahama Cares asema na make cho no say to me ye ma bia to say they making metumi ni payifo atena se me paperwork ni nyina 24/7 paper bi and same paper bi ye guidelines are ye bie donation platform at the Mahama Cares ni say Ghana how bie ni ho obegia ya resa obetu esika mo yen yesusu a ye nyini ye twa me 50 de nenso no omoma kwan ne ye kirekire na ma bi ya krom ha no abrofo no motete ha na embassies na wo ha ni nyina no omotete ha ye den omukrom no mosisika wo no mote ha nti adenti na yentumi nyane ma bi eso ye be dan omoka what I say yetumi ese ye niema nkrata na omo ye de ye niema wo ho no yeso yetumi ye bi e de dan omoka wo ha wo bill say ye de boa we wo bill say ye de boa we nti untu a wo de tena ho na wo visa application fees na wo je no wo ji a wo de ko he what I say nti saska no ese yeso yetumi gibi de boa ya resa wo ha because gold even Anglo Gold Chrome be 2 gold so many years wo boase no omakoso a lot of health damages it is a Mahama say sorry to say His Excellency so ye Mahama Cares wo krom ha na so ho ne ade na ye ntro krata ndan omoka na broni usro broni ana ye nsro broni ye nsro bia ye we asase ye nsro agyan nti ese yetumi hye ye nhyehyɛ aye nyina so ye ta kire e betumi a kire kwan a ye befa so e be dan omoka
ye nuaba obobia na em se ode ofutu man
ye be dan omoka simple
obobia egusu a oye
yes ye dan omoka because omutumi for mo hudi what I say a serious issue because omunim kwa omode ye fa so nti sabe His Excellency information we given out no is an explosive message. There was a lot of wisdom in what you were saying, but not just the wisdom, but the energy. Out to me say well rehearsed. They said you can. Out to me say a dream muda what is was. They said and I said the wire from the Kuala Brimu and it is true. His Excellency is a student of history, and no sense to see idea. We share sector say Ukrumana appointment our menina will be a whole idea. Yeah, Papa Nana Kufuado. Oh no, brofo no start ya no can me man pen asem because me wana fufu money ne close pa me share bi o mo se wo de ade na ode ayo onye me hwe nanso no me ade me chini se wo de brofo be daada me because brofo na wo kan no meti ase se de wo ye wa no metumi aye ma no meka bi. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Sanya Manina, fellow Ghanaians, any and Nana Timu Sia Nanfin, she said of Frono. Oh, it is all the brofo to enchain and no jabusia semso and no focus say nkwala bi wo ho mo yare mamefo bi wo ho mo hia yaresa mamefo bi mo ho mo hia we no ye na man na ni da ho a sesia ne se Kenforiata woni ye di hide and seek what you say o man ben ye bebu a finance minister bebu man awie na o te amanane no no ye to nwom ono to nwom a kire it is sesia no kin asem ye kan nyina me de ma no besi no e fa no galamsey nsem no yemma entumpayinfo say animanim ya yentu anamo no ne yenye nhyehyɛ a ebetumi a create saa security zone no wo nsuo na no ni nyinaa mo mututu wa land ne dey at least still your money here good ye and saa explosives no e be a poisonous so what you say e be wa mframa mu sei ne ade de yare bekɔ into saa environmental protection ne ade no they must involve certain groups I be me hu saa ade ayeye no ye be wie no enya societal effect bia because yare ne ba unya mpempem na dem pamu na se wuwu a mfaso be na wo so se wanye sika na me da ho amiwu intino ye hwe nchirimafo na ye pay sika kodi no a omunya sika emfa sponsor sa na ema ne bi no na ugya na yare hokɔ na onya ho mfaso no wu a waku nipa wasɛe nipa brabo nti yenya ntutuye ni ye na yehu distances na yebema na ye protocol line na enkoma effect na ebeboa ye ne ye agudie ni tuon because agudie nye na ye de sha asase na se nyame na de che ye na ode adom ye kwa nti se ebenya ho mfaso a ese fa kwan paso na ye di nya mfaso ni ye because ye proud say ye Ghana for said ye kan nye obia na obenya ne saa UK for ne to no omo wo ye kuro wo ya anka wo kokuro mu ha be nante gold so me na me ka chew transport keke no wo enso underground first day me see underground wo UK a check me see underground wo UK eh na omo ye da no mutu ba ha ombe ye train kwan no you dey lift na kofom ansa na wo see a 190 akọ ansa na wasan akọ ansa na wakọ to train station nti wo hu edie no mo mu ni hwe na ye wo niema no ye ni bibia nti niema bi wo ho a mo ma ye nimre his excellence nyame na de na ba second time say man ani na ho no ontoto niema yi obewie no so no ye benye obi obeso afena nimu a ono so de ye bekọ ye nim na obi abesom no de ye kọ ye nim ti ye bewu bekọ no na ye ma no so ti ye nti kin masamani
meda say Isaac Ezwa na ye tenen kamamenko na napoku yen hwe eye galamsey fight any government initiatives
yo thing say galamsey die ye di hun komoni bia
bebre
na idea we were a very different perception about how we think about ourselves na and semi bi wo wa emu oya enso say we mekonim na se utie analysis a menu Isaac ya let's just say you are able to tell say trimu poboni bi na e wo say you try na ye free ya adwenim enuntina empempi no I don't like it when it's much to do with how we fight that word fight against galamsey no enye word a me de because you would think say baku illegal the illegal no ebia fani say a large scale mining na krofo froso for ba ebeye no me nka sa abrofo san say the companies ni be South African companies obi on before
oh yes
ebe fakon enye the dominance of China for omutu from a good year our my way mono enye na akoye besepa eni konyina haban the tasina benyansa for sebi enti obi te say Goldfields obi te say Anglo Gold Ashanti Newmont one more license say omuntu e from a good year enye ne nyame ma no die nyame de ma no no onu kotu bia ode ne ngan die onu firi ni krom aba Sabi technology na I was already too good no crampo no. So say Ghana ha one of the biggest institutions are or no ya earth mover or too good no mabroni SSR good no de kwa manone no. Engineers and planners. The first country the first a friend is saying country person or share say adwuma na se a wetima successful even
underground
omo free amano ne ba ya omo se omo pe company amana be too good amano no om de man no engineers and planners Minu Ibrahim ama na say ya wote say woni Azuma for enya issues bi ba ko enu bi a wo Azuma for mo akone ho nye on ba mo ho mo na mo ko ne ho say mo ton mo concession e di ama ono no beto ana o si o concession no boy yesen mo si 100 million o si yo 100 million de meto na mo liabilities ne de he mo si mo di GRA for ka o si metua mo de mo workers ka o si metua mo de your friend is saying minerals commission for sika wo some de mo de o ka o si okay metua mi wi a mesa ma mo $500,000 every month se sa na mo di tua workers ka na o matimi aye adwuma wona koso a metua from 2023 sa temperature na joma ma na wa ba mu
me pa cha Akufo Addo ne ba umia
ena wa ya bepem ne ni nua ne be ya mampania me nua kuma Bright Simmons oh Ibrahim ni nua ba ya na okoye na akwaje akenten so
present sir
so the black man is his own enemy what you say eno na ama bibini timi dwe se ni nua bibini to gold a e wo so okọ no okọ pam ni free there be all to gold it me nye in support of anything called fight against galamsey I don't support it because you see rather regularize it don't fight it. That word fight, I disagree with that word, and I don't want to ever hear that word in my ears because those that we want to fight, we will have to fight are those that are not Ghanaians. Nyankopo mama and you dia. Ukom kroma say dia wa de pan say no de ni bia.
No de ni bia and de.
E Ghana for akade and nyame de mayen enye omo de ni bia. What must say? Now
say kutu
say bam
to aswe
na sa kase ya making ejina bibi so say utimi jai Goldfields Newmont Anglo Gold say onu ntu fuma gudi a unim chemicals omo di go yensa asim onu de won say asase on say nsuo de Nyankopon di ade ne dum no a oni ehu akade a odi be 20 oye ni anyhow no wahu wani we yehu se de oye ni de enye no kura mu so enye na ade na wontene no na onko so a entu na ono so onya wawe e wona ta so na ono so kwa wetimi asidan koko na wadwe ye se broni ni de e wo se wo ma ne license mani tu na wodi sika no every patriotic one man biji sa adwene ne wo form
ende
e wo form pa wo se ye Kenya ye ho na yetimi ma broni a sebio wabu ye kwasea no sanye o mampani ko gina ho o ma speech a ye kire se bibini is capable no e wo se ye hu se ye capable se ya adwene ne timi ye adwuma wo ye kuro mansa
eno ne asebe no
timi me ne o mo nya adwen and I will say it anywhere any day any time and I will critique anybody including the president because the fight against Galamsey and your right word fight is wrong. Don't fight your people. Regularize it. So I sat here and told you said the first person that got it right ever is John Mahama because of that only one word, responsible mining. That should take the center stage. Let the Ghanaian know say yes, if we good you can only do that responsibly. It is answer.
Excellent.
Also drink responsibly.
And one.
It is a chacha. Play stake responsibly. Not for persons under 18, and not for persons who are not responsible.
Correct.
So that if you're not responsible, we must kick you out, not fight you. So I don't want to hear that word fight. That I'm saying no. I need the enemy at the chair. No. Omo new month, no more ye. Omo go face, no more ye. Omo Anglo God Asante, no more ye. Dear Nancy Assassin. Can you count boss yanka? Why? You cancer na DJ. Any cancer?
Sir.
Which I don't want to hear. I've been trying to reach the minister. I'll try my best and visit him in his office. Because you see, we can't fight ourselves to win. You can't win that battle ever. You'll be just making a wild goose chase.
True.
You can't fight yourself and win. Whom are you fighting? Yourself. Because the person there in the bush is the Ghanaian. Rather, no, when you are able to regularize it, who is the foreigner? I'll wait me. I guess I mean Nimraso. What am I say? Then, by regularizing it, we must make a handful the face of the regulation or of the regularization. Because a crobia will rap.
And then we are in the crop.
I don't think a crop yet if you're Santico Toko, him body a mamuso, unquaso piao. Or can say be or say, baby be anywhere you to Galamsa or him be. And he admitted, say Onokrano, he is part of the reason why Galamsey has not ended. He or him and he could not mince words because now no can see another die.
No be other.
Yes. On person no better here. Now kwa say wo di aban to kwa ama no. Ana say wo di aban adwuma ya ama no. Omo pa omo makro bia yefia Asante Kotoko ni say nana yem pese bia ye beka say ya bra efoma gudie tuo. Na mom no nana yentimi ma say ye betu foma gudie na fa di sensuo. Enti nana senka betimi aboderu na fi na kromo bia ensi ba bia kwaye bia mu. Ana say mo bi nko ba bia ensuo bia da enkonko horo ne nioma se okwa koyiska kokko nana di anim. Na ha say that I'm saying that to China. Because who say anyone so ya brimpo and answer say bi o ya man here. Crop ya se me the manual to say fi na kremo bi enko kwayem kotu agudie ana say mo bi anko hankotu agudie na onipa kro ne be hu say o tu wache. No no ani yonko brebo na na asafo hene. O tu no. And he said politician agent say onu mom e person wo ye the alpha and omega of adia e wo se yetenetene no na mom nyase ya ne omko a enguase ne be kan enu bi na kufodo ye ya afi na afoforo no ode asoja fo ni nyina kogu kwaye ni mu a soja ni no obeba na botom ayema ono so wo yire e wo ma etimi ni omo nya adwen it's something that I'm talking out of pain because me who say China for prisoners or prisoners. Prisoners. Most of them are prisoners. About 90% of them in the bushes are prisoners.
2008.
Na onu ne mai
second in Tamale.
Tio onu ne mai emu aban etimi ayesese se wo prisoner mi yiwa me do ko Ghana. Masabo dwetire na me de ma no. Fakoto excavator. Fakọ wo mamu. Sensase ne say kwaye anya woman no ye de obetini bia na sika kokko bia obenya bia no fabra sabi dey fit gold board dream say or train gold wouldn't how many people that are doing smuggling
yes you
wouldn't dey so mo dey omo to tinapa no ma we tinapa no mo de gold na gutontra mu at the chemicals are found one. Fast can they will be seeing the that is what they do. Then you sit and you think you are fighting. That word fight, it will fight you back.
Seriously.
So instead of doing those things, rather let's regularize it in such a way say baby be any woman here to from one answer will bet me one swap from one abai any. That should be the center of our discussion. But so when me back dia me so mesmebo me no back ukura etua me kura jan ukura etua me kura bo so da fa Ghana o me say we galam say dudu e wo kwayem
easy.
And that word should just be
fight
deleted from our balance of this discourse. And you fight. You can't win. No president can win that battle. And you kasade akrokro nyansakasa. But you free no. I've read about them. I haven't visited Australia before.
Okay.
But I understand how they conduct the mining. Also, you see where they regulate. That is how you win the battle. And then talk and then pipe machi we excavator akosiwo na excavator nyo no na toye na ekwaba no fast water excavator no o ti excavator 100 wo di ko gu ba bi obekwa koto foforo bi che kura tu enti no
kana ya mpaw
enye sa na ya no I know from the hearts of Owura Amaboa, quintessential gentleman. He wants the best because ni chrome, he is not able to contain it. How long hasn't he been MP? When who the Akoswo in the past, and Nema Gusua Akoswo, and I have been looking forward to meeting him to let him know, say, look, let your caliber reflect on that battle of a sort. It's a menace of society because Senframa di wuwu padia onya da. Nemum abutre akrokro hwana opam no Ghana ni na oye no hwani no. E kire bi osemento aba. Na wakwakofa kokotira ka no na oye nipa boni udi ni mamboye ni no asa aba na wase kwaye no na ukoya na obae. Eti mo me fa nyansa anya adwuma. Mo me fa nindia anya adwuma. Mo me fa krokro. Sebi Ghana ni won say ne kwaye enye hwe. Sebi Philippians. Or say, for what shall it profit a man when he gains the whole world and loses his soul? And yet the Ghana ni penono. E komo ho. Na sebi ye yefunu da pafu di oje ani o me. Sebi obewia na obenya bia di o. So obenya den obenya bi o. Do you think someone was born a criminal?
No.
It is society that made criminals. So for me, I disagree. And I say that in all humility. I don't care, but I think I've made sense. Because Nyanko Paul Prank or the command China for. Omo bedru apoto chief oni bedru Ghana ha no na yepono na ese sikakoko na eden e wa no no say Gold Coast. Sika mpo ano ada no wafa nko China uni nyanza che nyame eti Ghana ni na he must benefit. The Ghanaian must benefit enya broni enya say be foreigner is a Ghana ni be benefit here enya ntokwa enya naimos asem dabi me ni naimos ni nya adwen their style I don't like it. What is more important and is key is how responsible mining yati hukuo na Pedro Dano no. That is the key word. Enyantokwa upa memo pre na so da fe wo Ghana nyina ntinsi kwayem. Na hwe se galamse fo ni omusunkuni mu a upa memo pre. They can win because they have money and they have weapons. They are more strong than the police and the military put together. Yes. Upam hame obeda ho.
No.
Upam okwa akoda ho.
Na dey be onko.
Da wa ko pun say uposi awudio, usoja awudio be kwa wiye. You can win. Me uchi obi excavator no e Ghana ni no be bomma mane a. Me ba be patch o se fa na de ma no. Ada na me patch o. Me ba be pa wo chaw se fa na de ma no. So the man no so de be kokwa ni mu a me fa ho. Because nyame de man no. Wan fa ma Newmont, one farm man grow good, one farm ma Ibrahim Mahama so okwa kotu gold keke. He the MPP for asobro manu se chi Bible ayi dada. ye dede Kimpaluta bonuma mo o se ya timu bla 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 enko foko ya timu de enko wo ba be galam say who demonstration e wo Ghana
what a shame
ya who dem ye wa bra Kufado enko fa regional minister wo Western Regional okofa chief galamseya eni potri kobi
John menena what
ani meku duka galamse ben want to know takwa ho enko for pits and what did ye ana na say me call ya omo ni na national security say omo so kra no me NDC fo na ya ni omo kra no omo sponsor MPP fo say omo NDC fo so omo ferry so mbeka so omo MPP fo ni nyina ye sabi ye frotia obedi sen
kakro obedi nti
enti no me dey message omo say there is too much wisdom around that. We have to tap into it. If we can't find any, we have a pivot around which we are all revolving. John Mahama is too intelligent and wise. Amabua is too intelligent and wise. They should cool heads down and sit up and reflect and know, sir, it's not a fight. We can win. We should dialogue. We should make improvements, regulate it, regularize it, and make sure, sir, nipa no be there e responsible enough on say assassin say show say quiet. That said, I'm done.
Meda say enana poku na yete enenkanalist wo na make house victory garlic mixture for boy yi papa pobi o ha na kuma bon pepe to se bia na won sai titriti wonani won sai na tumi titriti obsa na anse na achew ya na woni so kusukusu na ise woni so chin wo pedro betumi abo na amamboje na die frusan ye die friend victory garlic mixture o yaro nya bia bebo ye pa ma bibia etumi akonkan ye na wo gan ha bibia eton adro bia say ye pharmacy herbal shop wo kwa won se betumi aka benkran ha de dodo na nkasa wo ko okan shi kinswalk herba eguove kona kwaji bi na bobo na entumi entu yare a wo hawadwen no enyini mfu ni padiem 020
enu su biribiri wo
bia wo so wo ha na wodi su
meto bia komana na
020 1293280 and 0242545633 now on paid for ND and Como. Me pato Divine Hope Herbal Center omo de otria herbal powder bedraman so otria herbal powder be ma na say oba ni sisi ye ne otria wunye bia bebo ye papa koko na how na ade ba ko so ani penim so otria ebo ma otria fi kuma say otria ever otria so me pato bebre be ma wa embre wo mpamunya bia bebo papa we libido no form stroke na how na say yes stomach ulcer oba wo bu nsa wo hu ne me kan for otria herbal powder kwan obefa so obenum otria herbal powder ni me pato wonya warm water kakra na ode one sachet of otria herbal powder di gum wo didi wi ana wanom obehu se no kre otria ampa na oso wetumi age ho afi yare nyina mu Gapson Pharmacy Okofodia sa so na Cap Herbal wo sunyan House of Drugs wa Shaman Boachi ansa wo Cape Coast Nana Boachi Herbal wo Tema sa so na PK Gambila wo Tamale for 0591 565 557 and 0550 639 037 only or for ending common. Medimosis semen can show say your prostate health awareness month. Inti so would yemina I don't know how they are for no medimosis dear can prostate omoya di papa omoye free prostate screening yenjoshi na medimosis war centers and war Accra Ministries Ghana Highways Authority yard in mo adenta barre obi hu mo aje kojo omoben ashaman ansana kuma Hima Kokobin Santase or Boasa Quine so will be home more. We will be odidjumo hodada. This month ye teswamo ye mo. Ye 20% if you soon to school between a form ye papa. William said Medimosis is your trusted partner in a prostate health. And to know Munding come on 0244 06 8447 0244 06 84 47 only Medimosis for ending komo lift kit capsules na medru so ebo for digestion enhance metabolism sa so na niam bia mbo ni pedue ne be ni na efu ni peduem e support liver function ye papa nti se wutie mi amekan for lift kit capsules e dia mo enye now pharmacies ni herbal shops are atwapeto organ hey na kofa buy for your medimosis for ya 0244 064 8447 muntie ni ebio 0244 068447 na oni omundin komo na bibia entumi nkon kansuo ni ye friend X natural mineral water unye binum ya pe binum ye 350 ml and ya packaging sa bon nkwala na pepa we 500 ml and sana we ne kese no so 750 ml your friend X natural mineral water Paul Amantama sinedi kanfo me chien sumo Paul Amantama sinedi kanfo your friend sumo tumfo enti se wutie mi a nsu bebre wo dwaman so ba me kanfo X natural mineral water e dia mo e nsu papa unye binum a bebo ye papa baby o Ghana ha bia wo ba XYZ broadcasting ahimfie ha wo be bandepo kesena ho be hu Uncle Robert do bi open obemo bi eto akoton ana akodom no bako ofie sa so na me pacho bebre Melcom so kwa won se betumi akabi ana obetumi afre factory was 0596 273546 and 0596 273547 na factory for so etumi abro bi na so aton wenya mfaso de bebre Safari Valley Eco Resort in the middle so Safari Valley Eco Resort Walker District de wu ehɔ na obehu omo a 4-star forest a lodge resort a wudru ha we ni beji papa na omo sesre ni West Africa ha nzi se wutie me American for Safari Valley Eco Resort e de amokai se omo run 24-hour service wo ho the time you obedo as a guest bi omejo no ma hwe yi omo surrounding no see wildlife obehu mbobo zebra giraffe antelope mara mwane de bebre nankasa na obehu omo ho na oduru ha weni beji yi papa sa wo koda ho se a day guest ho experience obenya na se weni ensade e catcho obehu value ho ha weni beji yi papa conferences ana day visit sa so na wedding honeymoon any birthday celebrations ni nano ekoso ho no mbo provide world class accommodation with private swimming pools e wo ho me pacha restaurant papa bi ho local and continental dishes ni nano omo de ma na wo pay yi na opede wo pay eye wildlife tour obotumi ato ho no mo well trained experienced tour guides so so ho mo no be di ho afurusane yem we hu bibia ekoso ho ebiom udru Safari Valley Eco Resort so mo be hu ni cycling ho horseback riding and sana fishing on man made lake canal ho and so obetumi ai sisimbom tabumbom wogina watena so no na munsu no so sa ye 9 hole golf ho and sana niam bebre nankasa wo kwa weni Bejinti for bookings in a fre 0596 914394 0596 914394 known as Safari Valley Eco Resort for ND Nkomo Power Specialist Herbal Hospital Dr. Akosia Eduya ohene yere micheche weni bre papa udru ho yare friend heye hepatitis A B C D and E me pacho mehwe abo eto ase efi uni peduem fatty liver sciatica prostate wo ho obema na se oba wonsa ana wona ebu pain omebo ye also na compo fibroid na how ni na would we ni chemo Power Specialist Herbal Hospital omebo papa ku massive branch in wo Feyasi Lake Bosomchi Road opposite Jesbro filling station omo ho Accra branch in wo Kwabenya Pokuasi ACP Road no so omo ho ansa na Takrade branch in wo Anaji Estate adjacent Anaji MA Primary School ha from 0244 544422 and 0200383831 no ne Power Specialist Herbal Hospital for ending komo na bibia entumi enkonkan me pacho ma membro so Isaac Ezwa yenhwe NPP demonstration bi omokoye omonsem ne so sa ban ne tumi declare state of emergency o baby aye tutu galamsey no ene ne fight no form enti omoto omo hu go dwuma yehu se no omo nam circle ne ade na nkofo omo demonstrate no obi so omo kro omo se omo mbra meeting na bi mo so sabe wa etwinu mi na epunu ho ibi na ensem bia na ha adwene ye papa on se na chi demonstration na dane gogome ne tampi pai friend Tampi Bamba na ekɔso ho yenti we
ansa some wa ma seria crack am because wa ma seria because enra me hwe sa video no kakra ase kaya ifo no mo se o kan shi ho no omo koso omo na me hwe video omo se omre no mu ni some be demonstration omo
red ho asem no
omo ti omo ani na afedi a epin so the problem is say one who say MPP4 yenuanom any MPP4 na no mo adwene omo say ye ti oman fufrom no mo so ti oman fufrom
wo the 8 years when to me anko
na oman na yetimu no
7-8 months
da bia masema mekan say obi anye be mansi obi a okrum ha na wahu obi a onye bone a yesano na sema meka o de adwen hu ye mo se ye harase mo chifu tafo ye cheche nkofo ye we harassment no ase kire sen wo Ghana ha wo say ye sorry ani ye harase obi a okurum ha it is not true, it is not possible na omo eye ayeti say obi a okọ okon a oni akode odi kan ye dede ansa na obedu kru no so na kru na taa na chi se be ye ne ye wo ne pia bi a na wanya boafo age no sa na akoyi sisi a antase na akom omo ya we omo ko yoko ni security agencies no secretly no cultural statements no omo ko bo omo amane o no mo hu se bone no mo adibi so dia say omo hu se bone no mo adibi na bone no mo adi no omo yehu dede first inti ya chi obi a no mo dede abekatakata so nanso no say ye de na si from ne ye ne ma pintin ema ye mpushi ye because sebio se na Akufo-Addo na oye president and na make us 2025 anka yi obey your national efense odi gift your worry we no no anka obedi ka achi omo 2 months and worry omo asemu me na make achi Akufo-Addo na president anka omo ye je omo ye take due process amaniema ye na dwuma no ko onye ne sa anka obe frefrem ko for 3 bi mo ahia the allegation bi ni achi omo akọ prison ansa ni ahwehwe omo asem of course na ye nya abotre yes ye nya abotre you see the case ye nya abotre mpo a ye toto ne ma yie na ya hwe na ya ma mo ho atom kakra na mo age mframa na ya be chimu agum no moti ho ye dede na nchie no so de edan ya na ya nchi a ye nyina ye so demonstration de mefi Australia be so sankofo UK ni America be ye bi because enye possible say e be mo an form ho adi etie ne MPP fo mutie ni e mo ye wanye mo ye be chimu agum say ya che ne ye nchi mu na mo ye dede mo de mo ntena o mo amudin wo krata so nyina ye wo list no wo ho it is a moto na se mo fi se mo nim nyansa na mo nye din po mbre mo ho ase na mo guso ma mo ho so mo ka se mo da ho aban mu ni aban mu biem it is a oban no de wo aban mu ye ne ebu man no na se mo to ye de ye be chemo mo pe wo mpe ye be chemo atum it is a mo diska na se yes enye se bi MPP so ye ntumi nchi MPP fo nyina ngu for Christ sake but the wo wa fuma osika fa on sase a woni nampa cho ni we ni ayi su nkofu enya djuma because ebekwa ko simpanyfo bi omo di nukure nan so nti ye mfa ho nchew bo hwe Akufo-Addo anim a otumfo ayi na so nso hu his excellence no omune nanim e chopa na enkoyie so dia se nti saa ne ma we nyina information no underground no enkoyie pebe so omune nanim ekoyie anka no osere no ye Johnny enya adwuma ye chew nkofo no wo bai wo de Ghana beto autopilot na ye de beto manual a wo ti watch reset no manual ye be hihye o man ye na eguso e hihye no nti saa ne ma no mo ye de protest we ni ade nyina se wa hwe flag stars anim ho se block bobo nkofo na etu ho eje o mo ekwan dem obi anya de obeye bia ya nchi obi anya obi ahwe yesu na yebeye ya nko mbetu mokwagu yani na ya so shegu so ba wo sa oman papa oman ba na so di oman so a otumi man hihye to ho mu bi owo man bia enko with tension ti dede no omo ye no dodo na so tie omo hu se nya no korek boni amadi nti mo asesa nkofo akofa kaya yefo se omo ko meeting na mo de omo ko di line mu so omo nkoye galam se nkomi yehu se omo ni abre enye fe na mo de munya botre
yo
na bibia ye bia no nhyehyɛ keke na napoku wo ha mesumo ha die be make sure so bia wa diska bia no obekɔ masema no
na tuasomaye
se utrim fan a
tiamanku
sebi
tiamai
na ewiase a yewoyi won bi da se me ya che me ena wo se ya harase me nti ye ko demonstration se me na ye che me no ya harase me nti ye ya ma etu atwa me ma demonstration ni bi da won bi da abronye na omo se omo koye hu demonstration okọ demonstration bi
ankobi
nti omo no a omo kọ demonstration nyansa ben ene da omo trimu a enu nti no womo na ya chi womo a womo se anasa mu na mo se se ya fa kwan pa so na chi womo no de omo amabi mo na ye ba be che mo no ena mo no ye se musu omo sun amo
asemu
ko kwam asafo agye ni office ho na abehu de na bi waye wo
me amenu asafo agye office
wo de fra asafo agye
me amenu ne bedin komo
ne busa ne se na bi de na woye wo ho entino we no se onye member of parliament omo aye boni kese na no omo akopre seat enti broni fre bibi immunity ebo ne ho ban se na se what is amia wuku waye NLA well
easy
ene odi ama KGL ene omo mutwa loto ni nyina no omo twa scan kogu KGL account mu instead se be kwa kogu loto account mu ama adia trimupo Kwame Nkrumah enya ya odi ti NLA se NLA no ebenya sika na yedi bia ye mpuntudwuma ye nsuo ni akwan ni school dan adwa ahodo amaga na anya so mfaso no sika ni kogu ba akufo ebotom na ono no atwia ho sika ni bi e di ama NLA iti maka chairman pani say NLA no ongu no it's a cause of financial loss to the state because it has been privatized ena omo ya private lotto operators no onu KGL ahehan kofo say sika na omo no private lotto operators ne kura nya no krapo ene ya enti omo nya petition efanko Iwoko any OSP KGL OSP hwehwe ne nsemu omo to nsa frɛ no no one is safe under John Mahama because oman ne hu do no wona kuma mu chen say individuals ebedi yie and at the expense of oman no enti omo ko demonstration no omo launch omo campaign because MPP for na mu no krampo no sankofo ne hu ye omo hite nipa bia wo wiasim obi ti say na bi unim di om de friend DJ Caleb and what you say was the worst performing organizer of the party since its inception. And a son sending 1 year, he not 1 year before Tino. Or Pequia, or Befaswaka said, John Mahama binding mum than who he. And Timum time or no Nanabi now, Tibon Kosono Echi. Now, on Yama MPP na Nanima Guasia attitudes a contebeno. Contending Guasia men Crumenia Ferriano. Omo try no more revival party na Yankopon nti omo ma ban mu biemu no na ono ne ho nya akono na omo nya mfomso biem na omo fa ono na nabi ti bonkoso no sama meye organizer eti campaign wa launch no na campaign wa launch a Tramor for ene di wachi de na so wo organize Tramor
Tampipa government
o organize in Tampi o organize background friends Obunsam Tower ana o dey ko to organize Obunsam Tower there so say wa high the high grade tina adwene no enko yie no no mo no mu su se tramo ne bo aye den ni we ni nyina enyo mo a se nyam Akufo-Addo ne man pani biem do Mahama onima de e fe ne tramo onye bi da onko tina take that smoke mu da on chi wi da oni se nya tie etu ono be da no hu enti se o ma kan kire ni ene bi a o de be kwa dwendwum se o be kwa kobusa Akufo-Addo se na ye ne stein what you say ano na ye onye bi da enti tramo ne bo aye din a ono tramo da ono wi da on chi cocaine he say amabo na mani se mu ye demonstration mabo na mani enti bi a e kire be kwa kobusa Akufo-Addo se wo na eja Wikipedia kan se wa ye bi da enti ready send ye no a ebeba price abafo yen smuggle na o man ni mu ana ye ne den so say amabo na mani e de mi gidi se ekina obekwa akohwe cause one from ampani Akufo-Addo nya de obehu kwan obefa so a tramo ni wi ni cocaine ni sa ma onu oni ma de kro Akufo-Addo wo ho ne de onu se bi na dwuma mu a enti no bibi sa de ebi onu no onim kwan ofa so a o di smuggle nti enu John Mahama onu onim ye enti anu de se mu bu ni hu fo de a odifo ko onim ye
ma fa sada ke say enfema a listo na Nakusi Poku ono no the executive director zema a gag saso na memfa na se ke sema a Isaac Ezwa ono so a member of the NDC Australia branch and the diaspora for no so be PM ha and then so as a papa mamina production team ni na say me ka say me muso the news papa in a can na ye de bro Accra Kofi Dakon ene ye nuaba dache hima ana yesa yo inspector do men say cheche or papa dache yo dache hima omo the news no papa na de bro nti mamina team ni na say me amedi dwumadi no ho chia me from Nicholas ya Owusi Olsen owetumi afra me King Nicholas nyame amba Debbie. Have a wonderful evening.